If you have an online business at all where you get more leads and make money off of social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, this video is going to absolutely change your life. I'm going to walk you through the business model that made me $60,000 a month at the age of 19 to now being 20 years old, living in Miami, making well north of 6 figures a month and taking home almost $1 million in personal income after taxes last year in 2024. And before you think that this is just some video of me yapping about mindset like I normally do, I'm going to give you a behind the scenes video of what it's actually like to be in my one-on-one mentorship and give you a ton of free specific value that you can use to scale your business. Now, who is this going to help out the most? It's going to help out the guys who are at $10,000, $15,000 a month trying to scale beyond with their sights on $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a month. It's more high-level information, but if you're just getting started, it's still going to give you a better understanding of the game, how you can get into coaching online regardless of what industry you're in. I've helped fitness coaches, FBA coaches, trading coaches, and if you want to get more leads at all, it's still going to be a good listen and you're going to get tons of value from it. But I will say this. If you're the type of person who cannot focus, put a hoodie on, turn your phone on, do not disturb, close the door, get out a pen and take notes and actually apply this video to your life. If you don't even have the fucking attention span to watch this video all the way through, you probably don't deserve the information. And I'm going to just be honest with you, you don't have what it takes to be successful in business. So you can go ahead and click out of this video. But for those of you who are already dogs, you're hustling and you know that this is meant for you, the information in this video is actually going to change your life. Now, I could charge $5,000 for this video, for this call, if I wanted to, and plenty of people would pay that, quite frankly, but I want all you guys to eat, and I want 2025 to be your year, so just kind of look at this as my gift from me to you. Now, we're going to go over so much stuff. I'm going to give you a whole entire sales masterclass. I'm going to show you how you can literally have leads knocking down your door as a coach, begging to pay you thousands of dollars, like high ticket prices for your product or your service. Again, whether you're a fitness coach, mindset coach, personal development, whatever. If you have a coaching business, it's going to have leads coming in hot, qualified, ready, knocking down your DMs, begging you to buy your program without sending cold DMs. I've never sent a cold DM in my life, and my clients don't send cold DMs. Without having to spam your story with CTAs and keywords all the time, and without having to just shove your offer down your audience's throat, because you lose all authority as a coach. The number one thing that matters in this game is authority and providing value. It's not about views, it's about value. Keep in mind, I bought a Lamborghini with 8,000 Instagram followers. 8,000 Instagram followers, and back when I was only doing fitness coaching, I was making $60K a month with 2,500 Instagram followers by leveraging Instagram and YouTube. Leveraging Instagram and YouTube. YouTube being a leverage piece for Instagram is one of the most important mechanisms to building a coaching business online, because it's not just about coaching. Most people have it wrong. It's about building a relationship-based business. You don't want to send people to websites or landing pages or a Calendly link in your bio. You want to send them to more value. You want to optimize for conversations, because if someone comes across your channel and they want coaching and they see, wow, it's just another guy sending me to a landing page where I can click and buy his course for $997, you instantly commoditize yourself. It's not about just talking about your product. It's not about talking about fitness and showing off your physique. It's about talking about the problems, the day-to-day things that have gotten you to where you are, and relating it to the pain of the viewer, so they start to psychologically put you in that authoritative position as the only person who can coach them to where they want to be. So I'm going to literally just give you guys all of the sauce. so that you can stop buying these people's one-on-one coaching where they charge you $7,000, put you in a course, and never, ever, ever talk to you again. Now, I have a one-on-one mentorship where I help coaches scale online, right? I'm not saying I don't do that. It's great. I invested in a ton of courses, a ton of mentorships. Some of them were bad, some of them were great and really helped me get to where I am today. All I'm saying is do your research before you invest. And the people that give away the most value for free, imagine what their paid stuff is like. If you're DMing someone asking about his program, and he's like, no, you have to buy first to see what's it. It's bullshit. If you're bought someone's program and they're telling you to send cold DMs, it's because they don't know what they're doing. If they're telling you to post story CTAs every day, it's because they don't know what they're doing. And if their main thing for you is to try and get you to go viral, it's because they don't know what they're doing. Going viral isn't a business metric. Some people can't go viral, but that doesn't mean that you can't make money. It's about value, not views. And this video is going to teach you how to 100x your value delivery and your content. And not only how, but what to actually post. Buying a program where someone tells you, oh, post 2 reels a day doesn't do anything. What kind of reels? How do I emotionally create myself as an authoritative figure in the viewer's head? How do I create a hook? How do I, do a call to action at the end of the video? How do I get people to watch my Instagram stories, and from my Instagram stories, go to my YouTube? What do I post on my Instagram stories? How many times? It's all about the psychology of content, how you talk to people, how you close in the DMs, how you sell. Every single solitary thing relies on the biggest metric of content, but it has to be done right. And just trying to go viral and making your physique the number one standpoint of your coaching business literally will make you like these. I've had some people come to me that, they have 200,000 followers and they're making 4K a month. That's disgusting. If you have more than 10,000 followers, you should be making at least $30,000 a month. I've got nothing else to say. If you watch this video all the way through, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can do it. Let's get to it. All right, boys. So before we jump into the call, really fast, I want to give you a little background so you can understand, because you're about to see a group of about 40 guys, and they're all inside of my one-on-one mentorship. And some of the things I say might not make sense. And this is not me trying to sell you. Yes, my hopes are that at the end of you watching this 2-hour call, you see a bunch of stuff that you need to fix in your business so you can make more money, and you book a call with me and we can talk about scaling your business. But I want you to get as much value out of this as you possibly can. And the only way to do that is for me to provide a little bit of context so that in the call, when I'm actually talking and I say things, you can be like, oh, okay, makes sense. Otherwise, I'd just be leaving you hanging. So what I'm going to show you real quick is what makes my mentorship so special fundamentally. Now, there's one of my clients, Kyle. We've got over 100 top elite coaches inside of my mentorship right now, and he's one of them. Dude looks disgusting. He's 240 right now, going on a crazy bulk. And I kind of want to show you, again, like I said, what makes this mentorship so special. So this is Kyle's one-on-one dashboard. Every single client that comes into 100X Mindset, which is the business that I have where we scale coaches, that's what it's called, 100X Mindset, has a one-on-one dashboard system just like this. And this is what makes it truly so good at moving people forward. Because if you just buy a course it can be good. You can learn from it. It's generalized information, but what moves you forward? Specific information applied to you. If a course is made with guys who mainly focus on bodybuilding and a dude who has, a holistic health offer comes in, it's not going to be the same. And you don't want to apply one principle to a business where it should be run differently. So Kyle has more of a bodybuilding offer, but again, we have all different types of people, and I'm going to show you how we customize it to his own. So as you can see here, when he comes in, there's an intro video so he knows what to do. We're on level 3 right now because he's an elite coach. Shows his current revenue for the month. We have credit and stuff. His Instagram, the date he started, November 19th. So it's been just about, 1.5 months. Dude's in Chicago. He's 19, 6'1", 240 pounds. He's a beast. And you can see here in the middle, it says next tasks. So every single solitary call that me and Kyle have, and this just reminds me, I need to put our call that we had yesterday right here, because it'll be the third one-on-one call. Every single call that me and Kyle have is put here. It's recorded. There's notes, so he can go back and he can watch it. And after the one-on-one call, I give him his next tasks of what he needs to do. Now, this one specifically, he needed a Loom video for me to go in and kind of give him a little bit more specific feedback. So that's what I did. And then I gave him some steps after that. So all of the coaches inside of my mentorship are able to move forward on a bottleneck basis. Meaning if someone comes in and has 10,000 followers, meaning you already have a bunch of leads, but not really any offer clarity, and you're kind of just like throwing blind darts at the wall, not knowing what you're hitting, what's the very first thing that we're going to work on? Our very first one-on-one call, we're going to perfect your offer, formulate who you're targeting. So in your content, you can actually target them. And then we're going to work on nurturing those specific leads, because you already have leads. You have 10,000 followers, and sending them to your Calendly through YouTube, sending them to the Instagram story so that they can be nurtured by you and hopefully DM you and reach out and get on your coaching program. We're trying to spark conversation. So we work on a bottleneck basis. Maybe you're booking 10 calls a week and they're not converting. So what's our very first one-on-one call going to be about? Sales, creating your sales process. Maybe you have an amazing offer, an amazing sales process, but your clients aren't getting results. Maybe your product is shit, right? We have specific solutions. We would go over that first. We work on a bottleneck basis. Maybe after you perfect your product, now your leads have gotten worse, or you've burned through all the leads that you had and you need to get more, or your offer is kind of out of date, or you've lost that motivation of what you were talking about. We're constantly changing our attack, and we're constantly revising what we're doing so that it's specific to each coach. Whether you're like Kyle or like Bennett Luke, who has more of a holistic health, an animal-based offer that I'm about to show you, or Ty Wynn, I think Ty Wynn's 43. He's a 43-year-old father who's married and has kids. He's been a personal trainer for 14 years, but he came to me because he really wanted to build his Instagram presence. And he's speaking to fathers who specifically want to focus on their personal development because they know it makes them a better father. Like, there's so many people inside of 100X Mindset that are absolutely crushing because of this one-on-one mentorship. And I want to show you a little about the things that we do, but I wanted you to see this one-on-one dashboard so that you can see how specific it is. And here we have the playbooks, which are kind of like specific little course modules directly for them. So, we have here the DM sales process. It's like, boom, it's exactly what they need, how they go through their conversations with their clients. Boom, 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 boom. You can see objection handling, getting them to book call, specifically what they should do. And then the Miro board that we're talking about is there. I can go back through here and I can go in and I can click on, going to the fitness program, how he should actually create that, YouTube video blueprint, how he should create his YouTube videos from scratch, like all of these different modules that are super, 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 super beneficial for what he's doing. And we'll come over here inside of the school course. Now, I do have a course and every single person has access to it. But what we do in the one-on-one with the one-on-one dashboard is we specifically apply what's being talked about in the course to your business, even to things as specific as literally I have an hour and 20-minute long video where I'm through exactly what I used to do when I was making programs for my fitness clients, making $60,000 a month. I'm talking how I created their dashboards, how I created, managing their daily habits, their schedules, weight loss and weight gain trackers. I'm talking, macro cheat sheets. I'm talking custom meal plans. Like, no one had programs as good as me. And after I walk you through exactly how to create that, how to create your course, how to create your community so that you get phenomenal client results, it literally is an hour and a half of me going through exactly what I was doing. And then I onboard myself as a client and trainerize so you can know exactly how to leverage it. Then I literally give you a copy of the template. I literally give you. Now, this is gated, so don't try and go like find this and click on it. You're not going to be able to have access to it. It's not going to work, okay? But all of my clients have access to things like this, and it's truly one of, and I can say this with full confidence, the best pieces of education inside of the coaching space. And now, again, this one is specifically for the fitness coaches because that's mainly who I work with. But I've got, client Hisham. Now he teaches people how to do Amazon FBA. And he came to me doing $6,000 a month. And now he's doing like 80K a month. He bought his dream BMW, yada, yada, yada. I helped him build his program specifically for the FBA clients because it's the same thing with the coaching business. It's the same type of deliverables, even though it's better for fitness. But we go through everything that you could need: Instagram stories, reels, posts, DM setting or Calendly and lead qualification, how to actually use YouTube as the long form superpower that it is. We'll go into module 2 and we go through, I'm teaching you how to create your Google Calendar for productivity, how to create what we call the Moneymaker VSL, which is where we're sending all of your traffic to be nurtured and get free value and understand your offer more so that they can book a call. So many things like this that we're doing that just almost makes the process of making money online impossible to fuck up if your work ethic is there. It's impossible to fuck up if your work ethic is there. Every single person can make 10 to 15K a month. Now, 20, 30, $40,000 a month, it takes a different animal. You have to be a bit insane. To be making 6 figures a month like me, you have to be nuts. But I know that there's a bunch of you guys watching this fucking almost 3-hour-long video that are probably nuts. And those are the type people that I want to work with. We have so many people inside this one-on-one dashboard that we're working with a bunch of different offers that are getting phenomenal results. And real quick, I kind of want to show you a couple of those results real quick, and then we'll jump right into that 2-hour-long call so that you can start taking notes. Guys, now this is the results highlight on my Instagram. If you go, it's usually the very, very first one. I'll even show you right now. If you're on your phone, you see this right here. The first one says 100x mindset results. You click on it and you're about to see these. These are just some. I post them every single day. There's 100 inside of this highlight and I've ran out of them, but I don't want to start a second and third one because it's just going to crowd my highlights. But you can literally go through here and see all of the daily screenshots. Now, I post these, but again, at the end of the day, I mean, if you really wanted to fake these, you could, right? I mean, it would be hard for like this many, but you could. But then you start getting into seeing, a bunch of the stuff that I'm doing that I'm talking about with my clients, and my client Leo, my client Danny, ripping like 10K a month. We ripped Leo to his first, he had never made money online, and we ripped him to his first, $11,000 a month. Now he's done about 15 to 20 with a mask.
What's up, y'all? I go by Meat Fuel Mass on Instagram, and I started working.
Look this guy up too. This guy, super, super cool. He has a full carnivore offer, and it's really cool what we've done with him. It's at Meat Fueled Mass if you want to go check him out. Dope as shit.
With John Mark about 6 weeks ago, and prior to that, I had one client paying me $200 a month, and after just the first month of working with John Mark, I hit 11K in revenue, and I have never made $1 online prior to all of that. And aside from that one client that I had in May. And I just want to say that, like, I wouldn't have been able to get there with just these typical courses. Like, John Mark cares about this stuff to the point where he walked me through exactly what I had to do in terms of the content that I had to make that doubled my followers in the time I was working with him. Walked me exactly through how to talk to clients, how to,
You guys get the picture. I'll go let you watch for yourself, but when we go through every single time, I'm tagging my guys.
Danny Latman here.
And he came to me with 200,000 followers. 200,000. And bro was making like 6K a month. 6K. That's not good. You can go watch this testimonial. Every single day, I'm posting wins from my clients. And then we have Shredded Sages came to me with like 117K. He was making 4K a month. We're doing 30K a month now, 15K weeks sometimes. And he's almost doubled his followers. It's crazy. He's booking insane. 25,000 for Leo.
Wait a minute.
And then my guy Hisham, you're about to see that $13,000 day. He literally went from making 4K a month to a $13,000 day because all of the coaching systems are the same regardless of what you're doing. We upped Nathan's ticket price and we fixed all of his content systems. Now, he was already like bringing in a bunch of views, but he wasn't monetizing any of them. And now this works with a small following. Ty Wynn has 200 followers and he's making 10. He did 10.5K last month in December. But the people that have more followers, it just works even better for them, right? And you can just see, bro, because like, okay, Damian Torres, you can go click on him. He's another one of my clients with like 100 and something K. We upped his ticket prices to 2,000 for 3 months, 3,000 for 6 months. We're going through that. I've got so many guys here. You can go click on their Instagrams, DM them, ask them how my program was, right? My boy Dylan, you can go through all of these and just check out all the clients that I have. And then we're gonna get some of the actual video testimonials.
Just a month and a half ago, I was making an inconsistent $8,000 to $10,000 a month from coaching, and I wanted to know how I could scale that and provide more value to my audience. Now, I didn't know how to do that, so luckily a friend introduced me to
Hisham. And he, even in one of the videos later, he says, okay, dude, I wasn't actually making 8. I just didn't want you to like shit on me. I was only making about 4. But then $44,000 his first month. You see Logan Khan, ripping $1,000 clients here. Ryan Johnson, $1,000 clients. Boom, 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 boom. Shredded Sages. Nathan Sages did. This is when he did his first 10K week. Yo, that video is just me on the yacht talking to him on the phone, because literally I'm calling all my clients that are doing crazy. I have a massive group call every single week, and then we have specific one-on-one calls through the week that I do with each client, and then all of my clients that get past the 3rd level, they all have my phone number. They can call me whenever because they're hustling, and I want to invest my time into guys that are putting crazy
what's up
into their business. And Damien finally hit his first 10K month. Boom, like $4,000 days, $10,000 weeks. This is my boy Jello. He's got a trading offer. You losing, we win. For Ryan again, $1,750 for the day.
John, another 40,000.
And then this is when Hisham did his next 40K. So he turned the investment in my program into 85K in 2 months. And then after that, and then my boy Logan, this is him closing $5,000 PIFs, like $5,000 from one client. Some people make that in a month, $5,000 from one client, right? Nathan again, boom, 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 6K for the week for me. And one of my clients, Jake Seals, who he came from a previous coach. If you guys know, you guys know. I have so many people from other coaching programs where they basically got horrible shit information, got left hanging, got thrown in a course, or paid for something that they felt like it wasn't worth the value. And then they come to me and they're a bit skeptical, but I show them all the systems, they invest, and then they start scaling their business.
So a 5,000.
This is back when my program was only 5K. And we've got some different options and stuff like that. So definitely if you're thinking about jumping on a call, then you can still jump on a call and we can talk. But 5K turned in, he literally did
turned to over $100,000 in profit in 2 months and got me a brand new M4 2025 competition.
This is when Hisham bought his dream car. Coolest thing ever. Another win for Jake Fields. 7,000 for this week. 12K for that week. Nathan Sages, 60K in 3 months. Boom, boom, boom. That's Leo doing another 12K for that month.
Hisham, how much money we done this month?
And Leo's bought the mentorship twice because he said it was the best thing ever. And then Hish actually flew down. We hung out. We had lunch. He was taking sales calls in my apartment. All my clients that kill it, they fly out. We hang out. My boy Bennett Luke, he joined with 1,900 followers. 1,900. It's been about 2 months. Last month, he crossed about 6,000 followers, and he did almost 15,000. Nuts. But he executed on everything I said perfectly. Nathan, 15K for a week. He actually did 15K this week as well. Again, 6 weeks later. Boom, $3,000 day for Jake.
Hold on, guys.
Fields.
This is testimonial for John Mark in his 100X Mindset Mentorship. This mentorship, John Mark, has been the best investment.
Again, I'm not going to play all these. You guys
Cannot
can
make
go
this
watch
shit
it.
up in my
This Hish, $70,000.
I can't make.
Boom, boom, boom. I've got guys in France. I've got guys with 200 followers. You know, I've got This guy had joined, and I think this was like 4 weeks in, 1,800 with another one collected. Tywin closed 5K with literally 190 followers. It's not about views, it's about value. I'm telling you guys. So there's just so many in here. Every single solitary day you can see for this. 10K for the month for Tywin as well. Absolute killers inside of the 100x mindset, and you're about to see some of them inside of this call. So if you've made it this far, which if you want to make any money at all, hopefully you have, we're about to go into that call and you can watch it. It's about 143 minutes. It's going to cover everything that you need to know. Let's get into it. On a forward foot going into 2025, we all need reminders. And the biggest thing that I've seen, especially not only in my journey, but in majority of the one-on-one calls that I get on with you guys, is we need to be reminded. It doesn't matter how many times you consume something, you got to continue letting it run through your brain and run through your mind so that you can continue to apply it. You listen to a podcast one time, you might take some value from it, but it's not going to be built into your habit unless you're listening to it over and over and over and over and over again and constantly reminding yourself. So some of this stuff, if you guys have paid attention to the course, you already know, but I wanted to shed a new light on it and make sure that we're all fully, in agreement and in understanding of what we need to do going into 2025. And some of the big things that I want to go over is how you should be operating each day as far as your content goes, as far as you as a business owner and a coach goes. And I want to make sure that we hit on the mindset that you have to keep in order to withhold momentum. Because a lot of you guys, you'll get a bunch of momentum, but you only get so many times throughout your journey where you're given a massive gift of exponential momentum. And if you don't know how to capitalize on that and keep it, you only have so many chances. So you really have to know how to be thinking in an abundance mindset to keep that moving forward. And most importantly, I want to make sure that I concisely, in the most understandable way possible, summarize the system again, because a lot of you guys keep reverting back to old limiting beliefs that you had before. So in this presentation, I want to make sure that we're all going into 2025 and we're able to just conquer the world going into this season. So a big thing that I've been noticing, and I like to study what people are doing a lot. I like to study what you guys are doing. I like to study what other coaches are doing. And I like to always give myself feedback just from what I'm seeing. And I've kind of created this new phrase or this new word in my head called the relationship-based business. Instead of a coaching business, I've realized that the fundamentals of what a coaching business is, because the market is changing so rapidly, is it literally just who can build the most authentic, who can build the most connected relationship to their audience. And it's not just trust and value and growth and all of that stuff. It takes it to a little bit of another level. And to build trust, it's not just about, oh, let me just talk to you about your physique. Let me just talk to you about how you should train. You have to genuinely cultivate a true connection by showing them you understand their unique needs and aspirations by talking about them. So what do I mean by that? I'm not meaning just always sitting here pointing the finger and prescribing people what they need to be doing, what they need to be doing, what they need to be doing. A lot of what this coaching is talking to your own needs that you go through on a daily basis. This changes all the time, and then providing them in the content. You as a coach, and what qualifies you as a coach, yes, is your accomplishments. Yes, is what you've done in your own life and with your physique. But you are going to be constantly qualifying yourself in people's head, not just by how much you've accomplished, but how talented you are at solving their specific problems. And a massive setback that I see 90% of you guys doing is constantly thinking that you have to have something new or shiny to talk about every single solitary day. But we all know there's only so much depth to fitness, but there is infinite depth to your personal development. There's infinite depth to your mind. There's infinite depth to the problems that you're going to go through on a day-to-day basis. And the only way to truly build trust with them is not by just showing up every single solitary day, but talking in a way to where they feel like This guy has solved my problem over and over and over and over and over again. People only are going to take your information and apply it to your life when there's full trust. No one's going to change anything about how they do their daily routine, how they live their life, or the way that they make decisions unless they fully trust you, because that's basically just giving you control of their life. And that doesn't just come by you talking about tracking your macros and making sure you show up to the gym every single solitary day. The people that we trust the most aren't just the people that we've known for the longest time. It's the people that we've been through the most ups and downs with, because that's what establishes trust, right? So when you see, holy crap, this guy is going through my exact same problems on a day-to-day basis, that's what builds trust between you and your audience. And when you aren't vulnerable in an authoritative position, it's very, very hard for these people to build trust with you. You have to create a content system to where they're looking up to you because you're the one who solved the problem, but you don't want to disassociate in a way where you just act like, oh, nothing ever goes wrong for me, and only talk about fitness and only talk about nutrition and only talk about macros. You being the coach are burdened with the task of looking at every single solitary piece of your life as a teaching point. Value is it's truly objective to the person, because you as the coach have to be the one who's prescribing it to them. You don't go to a doctor and say, hey doctor, this is what's wrong with me, this is the medicine that I need. You go and you say, here's my symptoms, please tell me what's wrong and please tell me what I can do to fix it. You're the professional. So if you get in a car wreck, you need to take that car wreck and be like, here is how I applied this to my life and got better from it. So that anyone in your audience who's like, man, I recently got in a car wreck, and they only looked at it as negative or as an injury or as something that affected them in a bad way, they see how you look at the exact same experience and they're like, holy shit, this is what I need. You're the coach. You're the one who changes problems and turns them into lessons. So you need to be constantly doing this. And number two, when you're providing value, I say this to a lot of you guys, but don't be the one that dictates what's valuable, especially in the beginning, because you suck at knowing what's valuable. I was talking to one of my one-on-one guys. I actually think he's not in this meeting right now. And I was telling him, and a couple of you guys have probably heard this analogy. I'm like, 2 years ago, I really wanted to live in Miami, right? It was a dream for me. But as humans, we always become desensitized. We're never, ever, ever just fully content. So I wake up now and I'm just like, oh, I'm waking up in my home. It's normal. But I used to mentally obsess about waking up in Miami. It was so crazy. If you would have taken me out of my room in my parents' house and dropped me here in Miami, I would have freaked out. I would have been so happy. I would have been like, this is the coolest thing ever. Now I wake up and it seems normal. So it doesn't seem that valuable to me. Right? So when you become desensitized to, doing the cardio every single day, when you become desensitized to tracking your macros every single day, when you become desensitized to overcoming problems, it doesn't seem that valuable to you. But you can't be the one that dictates what's valuable to someone else, because you might be withholding information that seems simple to you that's going to be life-changing to other people. Feedback is going to help you make better decisions on what's valuable, because the more you post, the more people are going to respond, engage with your content, and like your stuff. But your number one objective needs to be, how can I just be an outpour of energy? I've got a guy in here specifically. I'm not going to name him, but he's always telling me, he's like, I just, I don't know if I want to post the same thing over and over again. Repetition of value is the point. That's literally the point, is to be a constant outpour of value every single solitary day. You don't want to commoditize yourself with objective facts, which, meaning that it's like, oh, it's a fact across the board, like oh my gosh, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, right? That's an objective fact, right? That's science. You can't change that. But what's something that's subjective is like, does a cold shower work best in the morning or a run? Well, it depends on you. As soon as you're talking everything about objective facts, you're commoditized. They can go look it up. They can go Google it. You just become another one of these people. Your content should be subjective because each person's reality is different. What's reality for you might be a dream for them, and you constantly need to be talking about that state. You don't want to always be like, I only want to say exactly what's true across the board to everyone. You want to talk about what's true to you because that qualifies you as their coach, and it also places you in that authoritative space of like, wow, this is the guy for me. This is the guy that I need. And a lot of times when you're making your content objective, like just about fitness, macros, you know, what you need to do on a daily basis, it's just out of fear of ridicule. It's killing your ability to stand out at all because people are like, well, you know, Justin is talking about 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, and Tom's also talking about 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So like, what's the difference? But when Justin is talking about how he's able to get in his protein and be a business owner and run his gym and prioritize his clients and still have a good physique, and Tom is talking about how he's able to, you know, have his family eating bad food and him, you know, not give in to that temptation to do it. Now these are subjective truths. Not everyone is in Tom's situation. Not everyone's in Justin's situation. But this is how you diversify yourself. This is how you take yourself out of the commodity. Because if you just want to compete against physique, you're going to get beat every single time. I'm going to get beat every single time. You put me up against C-Bum, who's going to win? C-Bum. I don't have his physique, but I guarantee you, C-Bum can't make an aggression talk. He can't. That's just not his personality. He might be able to do some other type of content. He's the best bodybuilder in the world. He's got way more followers than me and all this stuff. But we each have our own individual subjective value. And when you're consuming too much of other people's content and you're trying to dictate, what is my audience going to think is valuable instead of just being an outflow of energy, it becomes very, very stale and commoditized. So the best way to nurture that relationship is to show all of your subjective truths. Talk about all of these different facts that you've learned, right? Maybe like people used to comment all the time on my YouTube that like the 425 wake up was stupid. I needed 8 hours to be efficient and all of this stuff. But that was their truth. My truth was that I needed that in the moment. I needed to start becoming this new identity of a very, very, very disciplined person. And the other guys who were in that exact same scenario were able to build that relationship with me through that. If I would have just gone with the flow and been like, well, I wake up early, but, you know, science says you need 8 hours of sleep. That's what you get. No one wants to buy from that. There's no conviction in what I'm talking about. And that's just an objective truth, right? And then on top of that, everything you do, you want to make sure that you're nurturing growth. Long-term growth is what a real personal brand is made out of. You can sell some type of product, be really good at marketing, make some money up front, do a bunch of CTAs, make a bunch of viral videos, have no density, and then just not make any money again. Or you can build a lasting personal brand that makes you money for years to come. And all of you guys in this system who've been in here for a while know this. Because that's what all of us do. We're going for long-term growth. I'm not just trying to make you guys $3,000 for 1 month as fast as possible. I'm trying to help you build a personal brand that you can monetize for years and years and years and years and years to come. Now, the bigger the object is, the longer it takes to get started, but it ends up being worth it in the end instead of just fast-tracking your growth and burning out super fast. Now, the only way to truly focus long-term is to take a product, for example, like most of you, fitness, and then add some type of unique service to it. Like, for example, mindset coaching, talking about the daily battles inside of your head, right? So now I'm taking something that's just like a workout plan, a meal plan, and, a shopping list. That's a product right there that is really the same across the board. And then I'm decommoditizing it because I'm adding, like, my mindset is going to be different than anyone else's. I might have something, in common with someone else, but no one has my exact same scenarios and circumstances that I've been through. So we're taking a product, we're applying it to our own unique service, which would be like mindset coaching. And the goal is to become so different than everyone else in the marketplace that they have to consider you on their own as a completely different option. No one would look at me and then look at when I was a fitness coach and then look at another fitness coach and be like, these two are the exact same. If all I talked about was my meal plan, was the macros, was how much I work out and all that stuff, then now I've commoditized myself. But not many other people had 300 days of waking up early. Not many other people had a handlebar go through their stomach. Not many other people were doing a bunch of drugs when they were 15 years old and sitting in their car yelling at the camera and talking about their journey authentically. So I took a product, I combined it with my unique service, my unique way of delivering it, and I decommoditized myself. People looked at me as my own entity, and that's what we've done with 100X Mindset as well. You guys have seen that. Every single other person is just selling the lifestyle. Oh, be a coach, be a coach, be a coach. We're selling a system, a life-changing system where you completely change who you are. You apply that to our system, and the other side is a brand that makes you money long-term. Completely different. No one else has anything like the one-on-one dashboard or anything like we have. So when people come across my content, they're like, oh, this is different. This guy's not telling us to post call to actions every single solitary day and only post 3 stories so that we look good online. It's a completely different way of selling. We're not doing cold outreach or anything like that. So my brand is completely, it's not commoditized, and it's something that's really, really good, and it interests and intrigues people. So that's the best way to build that relationship, because people completely separate you from the rest of the market, and they start diving down the rabbit hole of like, what is this guy actually all about? And like, wow, all of these problems that he's been through relate specifically to me. Now, with that goal in mind of where we're headed to the relationship-based business, I want to talk a little bit about the balance of like selling in your content. Because the sales process, which Jonah and Simon are going to come in a little bit and drop you guys some absolute heat about actual like sales, but a big part of the link in the chain is the content. Because if you're getting on calls with people, if you're getting people in the DMs and it's a battle, it's a fight, you're having to build trust and prove yourself, it means that there's a missing link within the content. The sales process starts the very first time they come across you. And we've got 2 different ones. We've got the content creation and we have a sales approach. So selling in your content doesn't mean CTAs every single day and book of callings 24/7. People buy from people they want to be like. There used to be a saying, people buy from people they like. I say it's people buy from people they want to be like, and they also can see themselves being. That's the key to it, right? There's, Iman Gadji and a 15-year-old kid, right? It's very, very hard if Iman didn't have 7 years of videos documented from the time he was a little nerdy, acne-faced 15-year-old. It's very hard to relate to that. So people can't see themselves being in Iman's position. But they go back all the way down the rabbit hole, and they see back when Iman was 15 years old making YouTube videos, and they're like, this is literally me. So they want to be like him, but they also see the opportunity that they could become so themselves. And that's where a lot of this, it comes in of showing like, at the end of the day, I'm just a human. Some of you guys haven't gotten to this point yet, but some of you guys have over 100,000 followers, and you forget that it's really, really hard for anyone to ever see themselves in your position. Some of you guys are so in shape that it's really, really hard for anyone to ever see themselves in your position. And when you provide content in a way that shows them, hey, there's nothing different about me except that I've made the choices and I've taken action on the things I need to take action on, and you haven't, and I've applied that over time, they start to idolize the version of you that you are now, and then they start to see who you were as a relatable person to them, and now they start to look in their mind, they're psychologically being like, if he was here, and this is like me, I can also do this too and get to that end. So a lot of your content, you need to just be leading them through the frameworks of like, there's nothing different about me. I'm good at making content. I'm good at showing you how consistent I am every day. But 2 years ago, I wasn't waking up early. I wasn't in shape, and I'm not saying this is me, but I'm talking as if I'm one of you guys, because now they get to see like my life can really just change through habits, choices, and the right information. And that's what you need to be displaying to people, because people are getting so desensitized. They're like, wow, you've got a good physique. You've got a good physique. Track your macros, yada, yada, yada. You need to be posting content that stops them in their tracks and makes them sit and think to themselves like, holy shit, like it's not going to be easy, but it really is that simple. I make a couple core changes in my life. I change the trajectory of where I'm headed, and I can literally change who I am. And that's, again, where they start to want to be like you, and they also see themselves in your shoes, right? No one sees themselves in you when you aren't opening up. And what I mean is there's a few of you guys in here that it's like you're almost, and most of you guys do a great job of this, especially those of you who have gone on multiple one-on-one calls with me. We've completely broken that down, but I want to make sure I'm speaking to everyone in here. Some of you guys literally only talk about the things you can hide behind, like the objective facts of like, oh, you want to make the right decision with your food, and you won't talk about the mental battles you have at night with like loneliness and how the gym comes into play and solves that. You won't talk about the mental battles that you have with your family or with your relationship, or your struggle with food, or your lack of confidence in the gym, even though you've gotten the best shape of your life and that body dysmorphia is just still eating away at you. You don't talk about that, and then you wonder why people aren't opening up to you. You're not opening up to them first. No one sees themselves in you when you aren't speaking to direct situations. If you're always trying to make a reel that everyone that watches is going to relate with, no one's going to relate with it. No one is. Don't be scared of specifics. Don't be scared to talk to an exact situation that you're going through, thinking no one else will. There's a reason why when you were in school and, the one brave kid or smart kid asked a question, it answered 6 other kids' questions, is because a lot of us think the same things. And chances are, if you're going through something, no matter how weird or how odd it is, or how fucking, like difficult it is, there's a bunch of other people in your audience who are going through the same thing. And what their fear is letting other people know about that. You as a coach are showing your qualification, because if as a man you can talk about a problem, that means it doesn't bother you and you've conquered it. You talking about it is the qualification, where people are like, holy shit, this guy just spoke to my exact situation, something I'm too scared to speak about, but he's speaking about it on a daily. And you talk with authority. You talk with authority about it. The biggest killer of content is you trying to make every single post, like I just said, every single post, every single reel or story feed your whole entire audience. Just feed the people who are hungry. Don't try and feed everyone. Just feed the people who are hungry. And this also goes with, there's a bunch of people that like recently who have been joining, and this is just kind of like a side tangent, who are talking about, oh, my story views get low when I post 20 stories a day. That's the point. That's the point. We're not trying to feed the people who aren't hungry. It doesn't matter if you have the best tasting dessert in the world. If someone is not hungry and you try to force it in their mouth, they're going to spit it out. They don't want it. Doesn't matter how good your product is. Only feed the people who are hungry, because the people who are hungry, they're going to watch every single one of your stories because they're in the conversion mechanism. You don't want to hold anything back. No, nobody, unless I can say this confidently, there's not a single person in this group who would rather have 5,000 story viewers and make $500 a month rather than having 400 story viewers and make $10,000 a month. The viewers don't matter. It's the amount of qualified people who are engaging. Every day you have new ideas, and if you're running out of what to say and it's making you make less and less and less and less stories, it's because you're not even coaching yourself. Not even coaching yourself. As a coach, you should be operating on a daily. And I talk about this with my dad. I'll use this as a quick example. Me and my dad were at dinner, and I'm trying to get him to make some more content. He has this little small business, and he's been, bottlenecked for the past 5 years. And I'm like, it's 2025, Dad. You have to make content. And he's finally kind of like, swallowing his pride and doing it a little bit. And he's like, I just don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, you see 40 patients a day. You see 40 patients a day. You're telling me that there's not a single thing that one of these 40 people tell you that you can't make a piece of content out of? And then when he started thinking about it, he's like, well, I did have this one thing. Make content about it. What makes you good is your ability to look from a bird's eye view. If you're going through your day just drifting, wake up, morning routine, oh, I'm in traffic, oh, I'm trying to go eat, oh man, I messed up my meal prep, oh, I missed my macros, and you're not looking from a bird's eye view coaching yourself, of course you're not going to have anything to make content about. It's like when you were little, I'm going to use the school example again. You came home from school and you were just going through the day, just trying to leave. And your mom's like, what'd you learn at school? And you're like, nothing. Did you actually learn nothing? No, you just weren't going through the day being like, oh, let me find something to learn today so I can tell my mom when I get home. That's how you should be looking at the content. Let me look at every single experience and activity and task that I do during my life as a teaching lesson. Because when you do that, now instead of sitting in traffic and being pissed because the traffic's not moving, you're like, what lesson is this trying to teach me that I can teach my audience right now? That's all it is. Every single problem. Bro, you have thousands of thoughts a day. You're just not coaching yourself. And in turn, it's making you a bad coach. And you can't expect to hit home runs if you're distracted at the plate. Someone can throw a fastball. A fastball is the opportunity of content that you should be hitting the home run with. And if you're looking out to right field, oh, no one threw a ball. Yes, they did. You just weren't looking. There's so many opportunities throughout the day for you to make content about and specifically call out your target audience. You just have to be looking for them. You can't just live your day just, oh, I'm doing this. Be looking for things. Is it cold outside and it's usually hot? Piece of content. Talk about the contrast between life. It being hot all the time makes me appreciate the cold. It being cold all the time makes me appreciate the hot. This is just like when I'm eating, strict food 24/7 when I'm on my bodybuilding prep. I hate it in the moment, but then after my show, I enjoy the littlest things, even a cookie, right? It's the contrast that makes me enjoy it. When you're looking at things with the frame of reference of how can I teach from my own life into content, you realize that you have thousands of opportunities a day to teach people. If you're not making reels from real life conversations and experiences, I can promise you won't be successful. You're not going to be able, you might have some reels that go viral. I'm not saying this is like a complete objective fact that you'll never make money ever if you sit down and try and brainstorm a reel. But for the vast majority of this coaching business, what you want to be putting out is real stuff. Content is already fake. What are people doing? They're trying to escape from their life into someone else's life. All of us are. George, Simon, Jonah, when we watch content, it doesn't matter if you're Luke Belmar or Andrew Tate. Every single solitary time you look at your phone, it's a slight bit of an escape. Like, oh, let me look at someone else's life. Let me look at some other country. Let me look at someone else's car. In some way, shape, or form. It's already fake. How do you stand out? By speaking about real life events and real world circumstances. All the best content creators do this. They're not just sitting here and like manufacturing things to talk about. The best coaches are talking about things that have happened to them, what's going on during their day. It's almost like a documentation of a movie during your day. If you want to make authentic content, treat yourself like a celebrity and you have a camera crew filming you all day. And you don't need a Lambo to stand out. I've seen a lot of guys be like, oh, bro, but I don't have this lifestyle. You don't need that. When you, in your mind, have truly created a very, very valuable transformation, and then you start to just live in the understanding of like how important that's been to you, people will see that. You can go back to my YouTube and see this as proof. I was literally making vlogs basically just like I just got out of my cold shower. This is this. And I'm talking about lessons I learned. It doesn't matter if I'm repeating myself. People usually need to hear something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again before they even realize what you're talking about. There's so many words being spoken all day. There's so much information being consumed all day. There's so much stuff being thrown at people 24/7. They're not just looking at your story. Don't just stop posting because, oh, I posted about that yesterday. Talk about it in a different light. Talk about it again. Most people probably weren't listening to you yesterday. Maybe they were just skipping through your stories and they didn't see. Don't treat yourself like you're the only person that they watch, but in your head, you should be treating yourself like a celebrity with a camera crew on you, where every single little minor inconvenience, every little activity that happens, blow it out of proportion. Talk about it and gain a lesson from it. Now, that's the best way to sell, because when you're making content like that, people come to you, they trust you. They've already pieced your transformation as the solution to their problem in their head because they've been consuming you constantly and they feel like you understand them better than they understand themselves. And when your sales pitch aligns with your content message, you create a seamless journey from engagement to conversion. You'll literally have people coming in your DMs already trusting you. If you feel like it's super frictionated in your DMs when anyone's like reaching out to you, or all they want to do is just ask you a question and just kind of use you, it's because trust hasn't been built. It's because trust hasn't been built. And it doesn't matter if that's a punch to the gut. If you're posting 20 stories a day and you're still getting DMs where people are having a hard time taking what you say and taking your advice, there's no trust. If someone trusts you, you're gonna completely feel it. It's gonna be frictionless. They're gonna answer the questions. You're gonna hold the power in the conversation. And when you get on a sales call, it's gonna be much easier. I'm not saying they're gonna DM you and be like, hey, please take my money. 90% of you aren't at that level yet, but it will get there. I promise. Once you've made enough content for them to consume, it will get there. Half of what you talk about, or half of you talk about what you think your audience wants to hear, when 99% of the time you can just coach yourself in your content. So what do I mean? I'll even say this. A majority of my aggression talks, I wasn't talking to someone else. I wasn't thinking about something I used to struggle with. I was talking to myself in the exact moment, right? Maybe I didn't perform to the way that I wanted, and to other people's standards, it wasn't lazy, but to my standard, it was lazy. I'm sitting there pissed, acting like I'm making a video for myself to watch later. Talk to yourself, because that's when it's very specific. Don't always try to be the guy who it's like, I can know your problems. I still do that. If I haven't been consistent with my posting, maybe I'll make a story about consistency. I'm just talking to myself, because you should be the hardest on you. You should hold yourself to the highest standard, because other people will start holding themselves to your standard. And when people start holding themselves to your standard and their life starts to change, trust is there, consistency is there, and they're educated on what you actually do in your system. And when they come to you in the DMs and in the sales calls, they're going to be like, I've got it already. I had people who would get on sales calls with me and they're like repeating lines back to me from my aggression talks like it was a bar from a song. Like they've memorized it, because it had become so fundamental in their head. While they're doing cardio, they're listening to an aggression talk. They just had something that happened, they're listening to an aggression talk. Why? Not because I'm telling them what to do. I'm telling myself how I can fucking be better, and I'm just directing it at the camera. That's it. That's authentic. If you've been inconsistent with this week and you're upset with yourself, talk to the camera like you're making a video for yourself to watch, pissed at your own behavior, right? No one's perfect. Tom is probably one of the most consistent people with his food in this whole entire group. I'm just calling him because I see his face right there. I guarantee you, he still has days where he misses with his food. You can make content talking to yourself, pissed off, and directed at the person. Talk to yourself. Think about you watching it on the other side. It's going to come off so much more authentic than if you try to be the guy who's like, bro, and you're thinking about. Now, a lot of times I would mix between talking to myself and talking to someone I really care about, but it can be very easy to start like thinking about all the different types of people and talking to them, and then you change who you are. It's not the same. If you can have a FaceTime conversation with yourself and just chew yourself out, if you're going to make aggressive content, that's how it should be. And that's where the best sales, like the best content sales, are going to come from. Now, I want to go into talking about the offer a little bit. I feel like some people who have been thinking that their offer, it's like, maybe you read, $100 million Offers by Hormozi. It's a good book. It's cool, but you're not really going to apply it in the way that he talks about. You don't actually need to sit there and make an offer like here's the dream outcome with this specific niche and doing this and this time reversal. Hormozi took over the market so quickly and so by storm. I guarantee you, if I went right now, I could find 10,000 Instagram accounts with specific call outs like that. The specific call outs can come in your content. You want your value proposition to be specific, but you don't want to make it to where it seems like absolutely robotic. You don't want to make it flow. You don't want to seem like you sat there and you were like, I help Jewish young men achieve financial freedom in 120 days without leaving their hometown, or I'll give you your money back and I'll send you it. Like, you don't want to make your offer like that. You can make your offer very, very like, I help college men track their macros. The specifics, you want it to be in the one outcome. And I feel like the biggest downfall is you guys are thinking, well, like, how can I pack as many outcomes as I can into what I'm doing? And I'll give George kudos for this, because I used to struggle with this a lot. And when we were building 100x mindset, he literally encompassed all the things: personal development, getting better, everything in the simplest offer ever. The very first one we had was 100x your mindset and cross 12K a month in 120 days. Those two little outcomes encompass every single masculine man who wants to get better himself, take care of his family, become financially free, build a personal brand. All of those with those one little things. We're not sitting there and being like, we help men 20 to 25 who are fitness coaches collect 10 clients within 100. We're not doing that. It's these two that encompass that, and it's very, very specific. And then what do I do in my content? I talk to fitness coaches. What do I do in my content? I talk about how we don't use CTAs. What do I do in my content? I talk about how we don't cold outreach. What do I do in my content? I talk about how you don't have to speak to the fitness if you want to speak to the emotion. I'm not making my offer like, I help fitness coaches scale their business by speaking to the emotion and not the fitness. I'm not doing that, because people don't understand what that means, right? And you also want to have clear benefits that actually intrigue people with that specific offer. If your greatest talent is you have like a crazy 8-pack, you got veins coming out, like just, super, super, super ripped. Don't just talk about the abs. Again, this is the same thing with you looking at your day and being the one that dictates what's valuable or not. If you're like, bro, you want to get abs, you got to be in shape. You have to unpack that. Any of you who have like done a bodybuilding show, if you've got super lean, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you're like really, 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 really lean, and you've been training abs, your abs are super sore, and you wake up the next day, your stomach is sore, but it's tight as shit. You're feeling super shredded. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you can like nod your head if you know what I'm talking about. When I walk around and my core feels like tight as fuck, I just feel like a machine, bro. I literally feel like a machine. That's what you need to be selling. Sell that. Don't just be like, guys, you need to have 6-pack. Sell the feel. Like, what is walking around and having disgustingly shredded abs and like dick veins coming out of your biceps feel like? What does it do to your mind? What does it make you like? How does it make you walk into a room? How does it make you feel when you walk into the gym? How does it make you feel when you go see your family that used to make fun of you for being overweight 2 years ago, and you walk in now and they're all looking at you all weird and like, wow, what happened to you? That's what you sell, because that's what makes people want to buy. No one's like, wow, this guy's going to get me abs. Let me buy from him. They're like, oh my gosh, my family used to make fun of me as well, and I feel horrible about it. I want to feel like that. You'll be surprised at how much we can connect to emotions like that. It may seem weird in your head, but when someone's going through something and you've conquered that thing, they relate so much to what you're talking about. And number 3 with the offer is irresistible pricing. And what I mean when I say this is expensive is good. I see a lot of you are okay with like settling. It's almost like there's a girl and she's like a 7, and you're capable of like, being in a relationship with like a 9, but the 7, it's like, oh, I mean, it's fine. A lot of you guys are settling and okay with like, well, I just want to have like a low ticket community. If I can just make, $350 a month, that's fine. I don't want, I don't feel like I can pitch $2,000 to a person. If you're doing that, all it's doing is lowering the value of what you're doing. I'll tell you right now, even if you have 1,000, say you have 1,000 followers, right? And you have an entrepreneur super wealthy, and he's like, man, I really, really like this kid. You don't have to have a bunch of followers to relate to him. Maybe he's like, man, I really, really like this dude. This dude's dope. He's talking to my exact problems, and he's following you, right? And he gets on the call with you or something like that, and you're like, yeah, it's $350 a month. A person who makes that much money is going to look at something at the value of $350. If you haven't made any money at all, $350 might seem like a good chunk of change to you. It's not, I promise you. Again, that's all subjective. Money and the price of something isn't an objective fact. If you make $10,000 a month, a $10,000 program is pretty expensive because that's your monthly salary. If you make $1 million a month, $10,000 is not expensive at all. I'll tell you this right now with the same exact thing. I would never buy a piece of information at this current level that's under $10,000. If you say, oh, something's $1,000, I'm like, $1,000 piece of information is probably not going to benefit me. Making over 100K a month, that's probably not going to benefit me. I'm not, right? So people are going to think about it that way. You want to have put enough time and effort into your program that you feel like you're almost giving it away for cheaper than it's worth when you pitch a $2,000 or a $3,000 program. When I was pitching, I was so convinced that my one-on-one fitness coaching was worth $5,000 or $6,000 that when I said $2,000, I felt like I was giving them a discount. And people can feel that energy shift. You want to make your thing expensive because, again, number one, you want to attract good people. And anyone, I'll tell you right now, someone who pays $7,500 for the coaching and someone who pays $50 for the coaching, the $50 person is going to want and expect more from you than the $7,500 person. Because the $50 person who's making a $50 investment and that's all that they can afford, they're going to want their hand held. There's a reason why they can only spend $50 to better themselves. $7,500 person is like, yo, tell me what's good and I'll execute. Tell me what's good and I'll execute. The $50 person is like, oh yeah, but what if this? What if this? Oh, my family keeps talking to my family's not supporting it, and what do I do when I feel like no. The $7,500 person never ever does that. He knows it's part of the game. It's like, boom, no, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna execute on exactly what you told me. That's why you want to have high pricing. We can always downsell, and Jonah and Simon can go over that and stuff. But you want your offer, you want everything you do. Speak to the best people. Don't think that you're going to disqualify the people that are lower because, you know, if you're, say, marketing to, IFBB pros, right? Like, you know, I coach people in the IFBB pros. You might have a random Joe who wants to get in just like decent shape. He's not going to look at the guy that coaches IFBB pros. Oh, he can't coach me. He'll be like, oh, if he can coach IFBB pros, he can definitely coach me. But if you market and you're like, oh, you know, I help, you know, teenagers get their first bicep vein. A dude who's been in the gym for a year but still needs help. He's, oh, I'm past that. No one subscribes themselves as a beginner. I know guys who look like they still have a prepubescent physique at 22. They've been working out for a year and they think, oh, I'm already a fitness coach, right? That need my fitness coaching, but they're like, oh, I want to be a coach right now because they're never going to subscribe themselves lower. They always subscribe themselves higher. So always market your stuff as expensive. Market it as the best. Back it up with the results and what you build your product into, but never be like, oh, you know, I want to, there's no benefit to being the second cheapest option. The only benefit you could ever have of being cheap is being the absolute cheapest option. And then it's just a race to the bottom. You want to completely separate yourself because if they go to Casey's program and Casey's program is, you know, $500 and then they go to, you know, Jackson's program and Jackson's program is $5,000, they're like, well, obviously they're going to correlate the $5,000 price tag with the better product. Even if it's not, people look at prices like this. And it's the same with designer, bro. If someone actually wants something, they're going to pay for it. You know how many broke people I know that wear Gucci, Louis, Prada, and all this stuff? They're broke, but they wanted to feel. It's that retail therapy. People love to buy, but they hate being sold. When they feel like they're making an informed decision on buying an expensive thing that's going to change their life, they're going to do it. But if you get on that call and you're scared, oh, it's just $900 and you know you should be charging $2,000, they're going to feel that. They're going to know that you're like, he's discounting himself. It's not that good. It's all energy. Everything that you put into your offer is all going to build into this pyramid. Make sure it's specific, but talking about an actual outcome that they're going to get. Don't go way too specific, 8 different outcomes, 1 or 2 outcomes that they're going to get, and then make your content about all of the rest of them, right? It's like, oh, maybe you have an offer that's specifically about abs. You talk about, I help dudes get 6-pack abs by summer. But that doesn't mean that's all that you coach. I'm going to still coach you on, how to get bigger shoulders and all this stuff. And you can talk about that in your content. Again, we want to have a waterfall where we want to have, okay, here's my top label that I'm preaching. Mindset. That doesn't mean I'm not also doing fitness and I can't also teach you how to squat 500 pounds and all this. There's this all these little methods that come off the mindset. But what's the main, mortar that holds the brick together? It's the mindset, right? So we have the specific offer. Make sure you're actually showing them the benefits, not just telling them you're going to get abs, but what's the feeling of actually being ripped and having abs going to do for you? It's going to give you that confidence, actually intrigue them, then combine it with irresistible pricing, make them feel like, holy, it's this expensive. Like, what am I going to be getting? And then the risk reversal in fitness should be that them committing to you is them finally biting the bullet. And I think Simon and Jonah can go over this as well when it comes to the sales. But a lot of what you'll find is like guys will have money, but the one thing that holds them back is that internally they haven't made that switch to go all in yet. It's not that they're not sold on your product. It's they haven't made that switch to go all in yet. And you can use that to your advantage. Bro, I don't know. I used to use this all the time. I'd be like, bro, when I bought my first mentorship, because I did, I literally remember like, the money going out of my bank account, I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, holy shit. And I tell people, I'm like, that's good. Because after that, I went on to make $17,000 the next month. And then it was up and up and up and up and up and up. Because of that sick to my stomach feeling, that was my commitment. It hurt. There was skin in the game. If the money that I invested didn't mean anything to me, that's fine. I want to sleep in. I only spent, a few $1,000s. It's not that. It was all I had. Didn't have a choice. I couldn't stay in bed. I couldn't not make content just because I didn't want to. You should be talking like that. Set them up in your content to understand that. So when they get on the sales call, they know that they're making that commitment for their own sake. Half of the reason they're buying, it's not because you have special information. It's because even though they knew the information previously, they can't hold themselves accountable because it's not worth it enough when it's just them and their own dialogue in their head. They look up to you and they feel like you're the best qualified to hold them accountable to finally go all in on this. And them giving up that money, them giving up that skin in the game is them saying, I'm going all in this, and there's nothing that's going to hold me back because I can't get this money back if I don't execute on the on the program, right? Your offer is not just a product, it's a transformative solution that addresses deep-seated client needs. You have to understand that no one's going to pay $3,000, like I said, just for some abs on the surface level. It's all about how you word things. When I was giving this example up here, I'm talking about the same thing. I'm talking about abs, but I changed my messaging. I changed the way I talk about it. And a lot of what makes you money is the way you speak about things. So you might be having bottlenecks in your content. You're like, I don't know what else to talk about. Maybe it's not that you need to talk about something different. You need to change your approach. You need to change your approach. There's so many different ways you need to change your approach. You don't need to just completely reinvent the wheel. Just change your approach. Don't try and encompass every possible outcome and accomplishment within your offer. I just said that at the beginning, but that's what the plethora of content is. And again, I'll just restate that. Don't feel like in one sentence you have to describe every single person who's ever reached out to you. There's a reason why you're supposed to be posting, the slideshow is going to be shared, bro. There's a reason why you're supposed to be posting 2 reels a day. You might have an offer for mindset and, your main thing is like, I help fathers take their mindset to the next level by waking up at 4 a.m. every single day. Don't think that just because you said waking up at 4 a.m. every single day, that's going to single out the guys that want to get in shape, or that's going to single out the guys that want to, cold plunge, or that's going to single out the guys that want to run. No. It's showing that vertical. And then you make content about, I wake up at 4 a.m. and then the first thing I'm doing, I'm making my protein shake for the day. The first thing I'm doing is I'm tracking my macros. The first thing that I'm doing is I'm taking that ice bath. Now you have your offer and you're applying it to all these different types of people, and it's getting very, very specific. And every single day you can speak to a new variation person inside of your content. Repetition is key. Repetition is key. Great. You talked to Bob yesterday. Talk to him again today. Talk to him again tomorrow. Talk to him again the next day. Some people take more touch points. You guys didn't just see me and be like, wow, I like this guy. You probably watched multiple of my reels. You probably binge watched my story for a week or two. You probably watched multiple of my YouTube videos, and I probably talked about the same damn thing half the time, but it made sense. And it was the repetition that instilled it into your mind to actually start taking action on that. And then when my advice started to actually be implemented into your life, that's when the trust was established, and you realized that it's that authoritative position. You're doing the same thing with people in fitness. You don't need some new special activity every day. That mindset is a selfish mindset, because you're sitting there being like, I can't talk about this. I don't know what to talk about. That's you lacking the ability to coach yourself. And that should be like a big, flashing red sign for you that your own personal development is going down the drain. Because if you're not able to coach yourself through lessons and problems every single solitary day, you're not going to be able to coach others. Now, for the authenticity, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I know I've been talking for a while, and I want Simon and Jonah and George to come in here and say some things. But I use this picture of David Goggins. Why? Because when it comes to authenticity, I said stop overthinking and embrace your uniqueness. Now, this sounds a bit funny, but I say this for real, because why does David Goggins' content do so well? I've seen videos of David Goggins running, like we all have, and I've also seen videos of David Goggins, and he's doing pull-ups, and he jumps off the pull-up bar and he starts talking. I've also seen a video of David Goggins where he's just sitting in his house and he's talking. And it's not the same David Goggins, right? The most authentic David Goggins is when he's sitting there mid-run and his lady's taking a video of him and he's like, stay hard. It's him and his authentic self. It's there because he's doing something he's passionate about. And this again goes to show, if you're not taking videos and applying lessons from things you're doing in your daily life, like real circumstances, it doesn't matter. You can't manufacture authenticity 24/7. You can sometimes. You can sometimes. But, you need to be walking through your town. You have a thought? Take a story. You don't have to be hibernating in your room at your desk to post content. Post it wherever you go. You're in the gym doing a set. You have a thought. Don't, I'm going to do it later. Make it right then, because you're in your most authentic form. Time between idea and execution is what makes the best authentic content. Be vulnerable. Vulnerability builds trust. Don't be afraid to show your journey and include the struggles. And credibility for your journey only comes when you document it. If all I did was make a video in my car, every single solitary YouTube video, there's no density to me. People are just like, this guy. I make a video in my room. I make a video in the gym. I make a video, in my apartment, at the store, with my mom, my dad. Show who you are as a human being. People oftentimes tend to just it's just some dude on the screen. Create a personal brand. It's called personal. It's not called surface level brand. It's called a personal brand. Personal problems. Talk about who are you on the inside. Talk about it and be consistent. Align your online presence with your offline personality, right? Don't try and talk about something that you're not doing or you haven't done. The more you start to let people in, and trust me, I get it. And I struggled with this a lot too, but it's just selfish. I literally used to be like on the way to the gym in the morning, and I was in that flow state. I'm feeling good, and I'm like, no, I'm having one of these mornings where I feel so amazing, just in my head, in my own internal dialogue. I don't want to get on my phone and talk about it. It's selfishness, because that's when the most authentic energy comes out, especially when you're doing fitness coaching. If you try and keep that flow state energy of, you're on the way to the gym, you're feeling good, you're motivated, and you want to just keep it to yourself and not talk about it, you're keeping the authenticity to yourself. When you're having those moments, that's when you want to be the most vulnerable on camera, talking about, because that's when the things flow. If David Goggins was like, no, I just want to suffer on this run. I don't want to make a video. I'll make the video when I'm done. I guarantee you he wouldn't have gone viral. He wouldn't have been the same. He went viral because he brought them into the environment while he was doing the thing. Every one of these videos, he's probably 30 miles into his run, and now he's making it. He's in the state of what he's doing. If your highest flow state is when you're in the kitchen cooking, don't selfishly be like, no, I'm going to cook this meal, and then I'm going to sit down and eat it, and then I'm going to talk. You're throwing the chicken on there. Sit there and talk about it if you're in flow state, if you feel yourself doing that. If your highest state, if you're an in-person personal trainer still, or like Justin, you have a gym and you're training a client, don't talk about, I'm going to make content later tonight about this experience. Pick up your phone and make it right there, because that's what's personal. When you disconnect from the event, it's not as personal. It's not the same. People don't trust you as much. And then for the authority funnel, this is something that's massive. Devin, if you're in here, I want you to listen, bro. It's not about, because me and Devin just talked about this, and I went over his content. He's got a lot of authority. Dude's jacked, he's strong, he's tatted, all of this stuff. Like, he looks good. But we found that I told him, hey, I want you to have more energy in your content, but he was giving almost inauthentic energy. And we changed that, and his videos instantly started doing better. But I was like, just because I say have more energy, that doesn't mean don't be yourself. You know what you sounding like yourself is like. Put your phone down after you make a video and play it and listen to it. And if you cringe or if it feels weird, you're not talking like yourself. You're not talking like yourself. I promise you, because you're trying to display what you think your audience wants. You want to have authority, but authority is built from your own results, your own personal development, and then authentically displaying that. If you're not pissed, don't make a piece of content trying to be pissed at somebody. Don't try and do an aggression talk if that's not your personality, right? That's my personality. I'm like, that's literally just me. I've always been like that. I'm like hardcore when I speak and stuff like that. But there's things that I can't do that if I tried to make my content like that, and I have before, it seemed weird. But there's also an aggressive side of me that it's like, it would be fake. I could go to another level where it's just not me. You have to find your balance in like who you actually are and how you're speaking. So providing massive value about what you're doing, showcase your results. And if you don't have any from other people, talk about yours 24/7, but don't do it in a over cocky way. Do it in a, here's how you can relate to this. And I promise you, as you're building that social proof, authority will emerge. People will start to just place you on that pedestal. True authority comes from consistent value delivery, not self-promotion. Focus on impact, not image. Value turns into status, I promise. I had 0 status on paper when I was making my aggression talks in the beginning. People gave me status because I showed up every single solitary day. And you could hear in my voice that what I was saying was backed by action. There was no wavering in what I was talking about. Every single solitary thing I said was backed by action, and it turned into status. I was driving a shitty car. I was living at my parents' house. I was working 4 jobs. On paper, I had no authority. My audience gave me authority because of how authentically I showed myself. Because people love authenticity, and most people can't be authentic. They're fake, and they try to give what people want them to be. So when you're authentic, I promise you, the authority emerges. And then this is a little bit more of like a personal one that I wanted to talk about, and I'll hit on this real quick, and then I just have one, and then I'll give it over to Jonah and Simon to go in and talk about sales. But this is something I call the coach's dilemma. And you see right here on the title, I put embracing your unique entrepreneurial path. A big thing that I've struggled with personally is, I'm an entrepreneur. A coaching business and being a coach, especially in the beginning, your first few years, is very, 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 very different than just straight up entrepreneurship. And it can be very, very bad. This is not like a mental health thing or anything like that. I believe in just doing the work and getting it done. You guys know that. But it can really, really wear on your mental and your ability to make good videos if you're constantly like, oh, well, that dude has a software company and he lives like this. I should be able to too. This is a very, very unique business because, especially in fitness coaching, if you slip, the people that watch you fall. You give them an out when you don't show up. If someone has a software company, they aren't truly tied to that software company. They can eat potato chips and stay up till 4 in the morning and live like crap, if the software is good and the marketing's good, it's going to keep making money. If an e-com kid is going out and blowing $5,000 a night on alcohol and clubs and sections, but his shorts are dope and his marketing's good, eventually it'll catch up to him, but he's probably still going to make money. One of my best friends from high school started Saint Potential. Right now, he just closed down his clothing brand. You know what he was doing when I was grinding my ass off trying to catch up to him? He was blowing his $500,000 a month partying on sections and doing all this stuff. And now he started his downtrend. It's called up to him. And if I would have sat and been like, well, Jagger's more successful than me, and you know, I'm being super disciplined. Well, I can live like he does once I make money, and then everything's gonna be fine. It doesn't work like that, because my client success comes from mine. Your conviction and content comes from your own. So you truly have to always be aligned. It can be difficult. It can be difficult, and you can find yourself getting in a rut where you literally just feel like you're doing the same things over and over and over and over and over and over again. I put empathy driven right here. Sounds a bit funny, but your success is tied to your client's growth. Prioritize their transformation. Sacrifice on your end gives you an energy boost. I'm going to go back to what I was talking about earlier when I said I was almost in a selfish way. I would be like, oh, no. I want to keep this flow state to myself. I don't want to post an Instagram story. Anytime you end up sacrificing alone time, you sacrifice comfort, you sacrifice, things that you really, really want to do on your own and by yourself, and you give it to your clients, it gives you an energy boost. I promise you. There's never been a call that I dreaded taking that I got off feeling bad. It's just like the gym. Almost sometimes the days that you don't want to go to the gym the most end up being the best workout. It's the same with your coaching business. Oh, I really don't want to answer this DM. I really don't want to answer this message. One of my clients just asked me if I could change up his meal plan. It's Saturday night. I really don't want to go above and beyond. He already paid me. You always get an energy boost. I promise you, if you give into it and you don't do that, and you prioritize yourself over the client, it makes you feel worse and you start to self-sabotage. When you put the client first, you come off on a high and you always get reimbursed for that. I promise you. You want to always innovate on top of that, and you always want to continue growing. Never stop learning. Never, ever, ever, ever look at information and be like, no, I'm too good for this. Always have an open mind. Now, I'm not saying just take every single solitary person's advice. The better you get, the better you'll have a filter of like what advice you should take and actually apply. But personal development is always going to fuel your business success. And 99% of the time when you're a coach, when your content's not doing good, when your business isn't doing good, when you're not feeling good, it's tied to your personal development. It's tied to your personal development. If you ever get in a mindset where you think like, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm making 30K a month. I can post 8 stories. I don't need to post 15. Nathan Sages. Things are going to start going down. You're not going to break the plateaus that you want to break. I just called out Nathan because he'll think it's funny and he's going to watch this later. But it's the same thing. Nathan should be making 70K a month right now. We're at like 40 to 50. He's posting like 8 or 9 stories a day. And I know in his mind, he's like, it's fine. I'm doing 50K a month. I don't need to do the 15. If he was doing 15, it would push him past the edge. Never, ever, 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 ever think you're too good for the personal development or the growth, and always continue to innovate. Continue to test. Something might be working for you, but it might stale. And a big piece of advice that I have is when you test things, only change one variable at a time. If you change 4 variables, you can't take the feedback because you don't know what changed. I'll give a super simple example. If you have a 5-step morning routine and you're like, man, I really, really want to, I feel like I need to change something up. It's working, but don't change all 5 of them. Change one. If nothing changes, be like, okay, well then that doesn't have much effect on me. Change another. Wow, my productivity today skyrocketed. Let me try this for 3 more days. Wow, my productivity the past 3 days has skyrocketed. Bingo. That's your thing that you need to change. If you change multiple things in your business at a time, it doesn't just have to be the morning routine or with your own personal development. You're not going to know. You're not going to be able to take the feedback from what actually changed. So always continue to innovate. Prioritize your clients no matter what. It'll literally give you an energy boost. It's like when you get the second win when you're running. You think everything's lost. You think that you can't push through. You push through anyways, and you end up getting more energy. It's the same exact thing, I promise you. And always continue growing. Never, ever think you're too good for something that you did in the beginning. Continue to personal develop yourself. I know I just ranted for literally an hour straight, but one thing I wanted to dive into a little bit, and my guys, I don't know if if y'all can see them, but some of you, if you joined this system recently, you've already met them. But Simon and Jonah are two of my absolute sales killers inside of my team. And again, if you joined within the last month, you already know them. But if you don't, that's who they are. They're inside of 100X Mindset. They've been in multiple offers across the industry, good and bad. They've closed millions of dollars worth of sales before even coming to 100X Mindset. But now they're strictly a part of this family, and me and all of you guys couldn't be luckier because they're in the group as well, and they're going to be dropping knowledge for you guys. And there's I've never met anyone who's better at sales than these guys, but it's not just because of their sheer drive and dedication, but literally just because how ambitious they are in their goals and how much knowledge they both encompass. They inspire me, and I want to build a team, and same with the clients that we have. I want all of us to push each other and inspire each other, and I'm very, very proud of the fact that I felt like we've done a really, really good job of that. So over the next few minutes, I asked them if they would just kind of share some heat with you guys about sales for any of you who are booking calls and you feel like that's your bottleneck. And so they're gonna give you guys some sauce that I feel like is really, really gonna push you over the edge. But one little reminder, again, I know I stated this, but I want you, as you're listening to them, to keep in mind your sales call starts in the content. A lot of wasted time and effort can be avoided if you just simply execute on the content systems that I've told you about properly. So Simon and Jonah, if you guys would jump up here and say whatever you had to say, that would be super cool.
Yeah, we'll take it away. Appreciate it, John. What's going on, guys? Let me check. If somebody could drop a 1 in the chat, let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm on the computer mic. Just let me know if you guys can hear me clearly.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Perfect? All right, beautiful. All right, so my name is Jonah. This is my brother Simon. Right now, we're just in our Boston setup. We're visiting some family for the holidays, but not the normal Miami setup. We'll be back down with John and George shortly. But I just want to talk to you guys today really about some basic sales stuff, and then we can start to escalate it as needed. Once again, use the chat. Give me 1 through 5. How comfortable are you guys on sales calls right now? Just so I know, because I know a lot of you guys might know me or Simon just through helping you guys out with Notion here and there, and then if you've joined the program in the last month. But I really want to know, just give me a 1 through 5 through the chat. 5 being I'm absolutely comfortable at sales, love taking calls. 1, I'm really scared of sales, I don't know what to say on the phone. Okay, 2, 3, 4, depends, 3, 4. Okay. Brian, I know you used the sales script recently and you got a couple closes from that. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. All right. So we're basically all at somewhere between 2 and 4 is what most people are at. Okay. So somewhere in the middle, and a lot of people are struggling. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to attempt to make sales as simple as possible over the next few minutes. We're not really going to talk about a bunch of woo-woo sales tactics and try to get you to manipulate someone into doing something they don't want to do. Frankly, I don't think sales is that complicated. It's really not our style, okay? We have closed millions over the phone. We started sales at a very young age. And most importantly, we have helped hundreds, if not thousands of people invest in themselves and change their life for the better. And that's really what sales is help people make timely decisions. It's less about the actual financial outcome of it and more about you facilitating a very smooth and easy buying process for your prospective clients, okay? So we're gonna make this extremely simple for you. You will be able to apply this information in the training we're about to give immediately to your prospective clients so that they can get that buying experience, okay? So first of all, the number 1 rule in sales, I was taught this at a very, very young age. Everybody should write this down, and this should live in your head. I probably think about this almost every day. And it's the number 1 rule in sales. If someone wants to buy your offer, your product, your service, if someone wants to buy it, you just sell it to them. Everything goes out the window, scripts, frameworks. If somebody wants to buy, you sell it to them. So there's someone in here, his name is Rocco. Rocco, I know you just closed some guys in the DMs recently, I think last week. Rocco's not getting on a sales call with somebody that's hot. This is going to be that hot, right? If they want to close in the DMs, you just close them. This training is for every other call. So this is the biggest mistake I see is people they go through, they have their framework, they have their script, they have their notes, they have all these sales tactics, and then they get on the phone with a guy that just wants to buy, or he's begging you to give the money over the DM, just sell it to them, okay? This is for every other call, all right? So this is how the training is going to go. First, I'm going to share with you 3 non-negotiable things that you need before ever hopping onto a sales call, and a lot of it's going to reiterate what John just said. And then Simon's going to explain how to establish your frame on the calls so you can control the conversation, how to lead your prospects to a solution, and that can better their situation. Okay, so he's going to do that with you guys. And then after he's done, he's going to turn it back over to me, and I'm going to teach you how to use your sales framework that you have in the program properly so that you always know what to do on a call. Okay? At the end, I'm going to share with you 3 laws of human nature that you can leverage to close even more deals, and then I have a little present for you guys at the end. Okay? So if you guys are ready to go, we'll just kind of jump into it. I'm just going to go off the dome here. I'm going to go through a few things. And if it's not helpful or if you guys have questions, just feel free to use the chat and I'll check it from time to time. But what I want to start out with to make it real simple for you guys is 3 non-negotiable things that you need before ever hopping on a sales call. So this is kind of tying into what John is saying about a lot of the work is done before the call. Everybody always asks us about objection handling. What's your objection handling framework? Ask us about tonality and all these fancy things, right? A lot of that can be avoided before the call. Okay, a lot of that can be avoided during the beginning of the call. So my best closes, I don't get any objections, all right? And if I do get objections, I get 1, 2, or 3, all right? But you're basically, as John puts it, you're building a bridge strong enough. There's very little gaps. It's going to be pretty easy to cross. There's a lot of holes in that bridge, hard for that prospect to get to the other side and to cross that bridge, okay? So 3 things. Number 1 is conviction. It's the same thing with your content, guys. I really want you to understand sales as you understand your content. If you're getting comfortable with your content, you should be getting equally as comfortable with sales. If you do not believe in the thing that you're selling and the service that you're selling and the product that you're selling, you should not be offering it. You should not be getting on a sales call because you will not successfully close it at a high rate, number 1. And number 2, your fulfillment is going to suck, which inevitably will cause you to burn out and you'll go out of business. Okay, I don't believe in burnout unless you're not aligned, right? I have been on offers where I've been burnt out because I've been taking 60 or 70 calls a week on a product that I didn't believe in, and every single call I had to manufacture belief. And then I would get refund requests and back end. I had to basically manufacture this, I was being fake and not authentic, and I was doing something that, I didn't really believe in, right? So we get the question all the time about tonality. People say, oh, my tonality sucks in the call. I feel like I'm low energy. I feel like I'm high energy. It's just got to be authentic. I'm not actually a particularly very high energy person. I'm probably pretty neutral. Simon's more high energy than I am. I close just fine because I close on the phone just as I talk in my normal life, right? I don't have this real happy energy and talk super fast when I'm on the sales call with somebody and then I turn it off and I'm back to normal. I'm pretty much the same person all the time, okay? So tonality, we get that question all the time. Hey, my tonality sucks. What should I be doing? Should I be speeding up? Should I be slowing down? The best cure for tonality, and I'll tell you, I had a 5-hour Zoom class on tonality with one of the best salespeople in the world one time. I've taken pages and pages and pages of notes on tonality. I've learned from some of the best, and I do enjoy it. The best fix for your tonality, if you feel your tonality is weak, is that you do not have enough conviction. That's it. If you believe in your product, if you believe in your offer that much, the tonality is going to naturally come out. You're going to be speaking the right way. If you don't, it won't. It's that simple, okay? So don't be focusing on gimmicks about tonality and the way that you're speaking and your voice and things like that. If you believe so strongly in your product, it will come off the right way, right? Which is why we've been able to help John and George grow 100X, which is because we believed in this so much that it's very, very easy for me to help people make a life-changing decision when I believe in the service that much, and especially when I help someone make that decision and then I see what they do with the program and they go hit their first 12K month, and their first 20K month, and their first 30K month. And then it reaffirms that belief that I have, and then I bring that to somebody else, okay? So conviction is number 1 of the 3 negotiables. This is just before you get on the sales call. Simon will take you through the sales call in just a second, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2 is empathy, and I know we just touched on that, and John was talking about it. I want to be very clear. I'm not telling you to be anybody's therapist, okay? People hear empathy, and they think that we're doing therapy over here. That's not what we're doing, okay? Empathy is really simple. It's just putting yourself in the prospect's shoes without buying into their limiting beliefs. So I want to see the prospect situation from their shoes. Okay, I want to put on their glasses and see life the way that they see it. But what I'm not going to do is hold on to their limiting beliefs. I won't affirm that. Why? Because I have number 1, which is conviction. So I'm bringing my conviction in my service to the table. I believe in it so strongly, so I don't need your limiting beliefs, but I will see the world the way you see it right now. I will jump into your perspective, okay? So you have to understand that if you're going into a sales call with anything else, right, it's not going to come off real. If you have what they call commission breath, you're so worried about getting a close, you're not going to close that many deals, and you're not going to help that many people change their life, most importantly, okay? So what sales is not convincing someone to buy your service, okay? It's helping people make timely decisions. I know that that might sound a little bit out there, but you really need to reframe your mindset like that. I never ever get on a call like, about to make money, about to make money, about to make money. I've never said that before a call. I've tried a few different things before a call, and really the only thing that works for me is I cannot wait to help this person. I'm so excited to meet this person. I can't wait to help them. That's it. People suck at making decisions. They don't want to make decisions. I don't like to make decisions, right? For example, I hate going to the mall. I just don't like shopping. I don't like going to the mall. So I actually appreciate if I go to the mall, I need to buy something. Let's say I need to buy a gift for my sister. Well, it's really helpful if I go into Lululemon, I don't know one pair of leggings from the other. I don't know. So I got to go and ask somebody, hey, can you help me with this? What are the different lengths? Why would I buy this one over that one? Why is that one more expensive? And if they can help me make an informed decision, I appreciate that. And the advantage that you guys have that you don't realize, I bet a lot of guys that said 1 and 2 in the chat, you're kind of a little fearful because you don't know what to say on the sales call, right? Do I have that right? You don't know what to say sometimes? Yeah, give me a nod. Yeah, okay, so if you're not. So if you don't know what to say, 100%, there we go. If you don't know what to say, that's because you are not operating from a level of empathy, okay? You have to understand that you're providing a tremendous service by helping this person make a timely decision, okay? People suck at making decisions, all right? So you have to make sure that you're being empathetic with them and just kind of taking them through the process. And the bar is so low because so many people suck at sales. So many people get on, hey, you know, why'd you reach out to me? Okay, cool. Like, you know, what are you struggling with? Oh, this is the price. Oh, you don't like it. And then they do some bullshit sales tactic where they're like, you know, trying to get you to say yes and basically trick you into doing something that you don't want to do. It's bullshit, right? So many people suck at sales that if you're just decent at sales, people will love you. They'll think you're a rock star. They're like, they'll tell you things on the call that they don't even tell the people in their most private lives. I've heard crazy things on a sales call, and I'm sure Simon can attest to that too, right? So if you're truly empathetic with them and you truly see it from their point of view, they're going to appreciate that, and you're going to make more money, help them, and grow your business. So that's number 2. So conviction, empathy, and finally, expertise, okay? No one is going to buy from somebody that they don't respect. It's just not going to happen. It's that simple. They're just not going to buy from you if you don't have authority on the call. And the easiest way to gain authority is to be an expert in your field. If you've never played the game of tennis in your life and I start asking you questions about tennis, you're going to be like, oh, I think it's played on grass. I think you have a racket. You can tell I don't know anything about tennis. But if I ask you about fitness, hey, what should I be eating every day? What are the right amount of macros if I want to gain 5 pounds of muscle in the next 2 weeks? You probably know exactly what to say to me, right? So you have to be an expert in your field if you want things to roll off naturally. And that's another way to fix your tonality, okay? So conviction, empathy, and expertise. You need all 3 of these things. They sound high level. They are not. You need all 3 of these things. Figure out which one you're weak at and elevate it to the standard of the other 2. They work in balance with each other, okay? So too much in one of these buckets can lose you the sale. If you're so convicted in your product and you're not hearing the person's situation, we have the best program, we have the best program, we have the best program. They could be like, dude, fuck you, you're not listening to what I'm saying. If you're so empathetic with them, oh yeah, like, I totally understand you, man. I was also down bad. Like, you must have it so hard. You're buying into their limiting beliefs. You're getting way off track, right? And similarly, if you're too much of an expert, yeah, I know this, and this. They feel like they're not being understood. You need to balance the 3 together. Conviction, I love my product. I believe in it. I have the proof to back it up, and I want to help you change your life too. Empathy, I'm going to tailor my product to you. I'm going to understand you so that I can help you in the best way possible. And expertise. You're going to answer my questions because I'm an expert. You are going to submit to me. Not in a manipulative or powerful type of way, but in a way that helps somebody make a decision who is lost, okay? So with that, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Simon. He's going to first take you through the first 60 seconds of the call, which ties into that last piece of just being an expert.
Yeah, real quick, Simon, right before you jump in, I just wanted to say on top of that, and Jonah, thank you for that, but that was so fire. But the biggest reason that I feel like, wow, I just completely, what was the last statement that you just said?
Presenting as an expert in the first 60 seconds.
Yeah. So the biggest reason why I feel like people are in, when you said with making decisions, is because it's the same as like people want to look for excuses. Your brain, it doesn't matter how hard of a dude you are, you're always going to look for a way out, right? So when you get on the sales call, a big, like what really helped me understand this is like, I'm not like having an authoritative, like dictator position to be a dick. I'm doing it for your good so that you know there's no other way out. Because if people see any holes in you speaking, like he doesn't believe this, he's not an expert on this, if they feel like there's another option for them and they can read that through you, they're gonna go for it. Not because they're not ready to buy, but because you made them feel like there was a way around it. Most people don't want to face the hard thing, even if it's the best thing for them and they're ready. They might have the money. They might have $3,000. They know they need to do it, but they get on the call with you and you're a little bit too friendly with them in a way that makes them feel like, maybe I could wait a couple more weeks. It's not that you didn't do a good job of selling them or that they didn't want to buy your product. It's you made them feel like they had a way out. And their natural human instinct is to take that way out. That's why. So it's not that your best interest is to hold them accountable. What's the best thing that we can do as a man? If your brother, and I'm not saying like biological brother, I'm talking about like your closest best friend that you care about with the most, is doing something that's destructive to his future. If you are just like, bro, you shouldn't be doing that. You don't actually care about him. You care about him when you're like, what are you doing? And you're actually pissed that he's engaging in this destructive activity. If you're like, bro, you shouldn't be doing that. You know that, ha, ha, ha. But you don't almost force him to stop, place him in a corner where there's no other way, where he feels embarrassed if he keeps doing that thing. That's not true care. He's just going to keep doing the thing because he doesn't want to face the easy way out. So it's the same thing with this. You're not being a dickhead by being like, bro, you have no other option. Do you actually want to next month, 2 months, 3 months from now, still be this fat, still be this lazy? That's you caring more about his position. If you're just like, I mean, yeah, bro, you should probably get in shape, but I mean, like, it's not the end of the world if you don't care about him. You don't actually care about his well-being. And the person who wins the sale is the person who cares about prospect the most. You need to care about their well-being more than they care about their own, because most people don't care about their well-being enough to make the change. And the change finally happens once they invest and they have skin in the game, and you gave them no other option, and they submit and they're like, okay, it's time to go. Once they've made that purchase, you've cared about them the most. And sometimes your lack of conviction will be trumped by their care about their own well-being. And because you didn't care enough about them changing, they win the sale. There's no, oh, the prospect didn't have enough money. Either you got sold or you sold him. He either sold you that he couldn't figure out a way to buy, or that there was no way, or that he had no money. Because I'll tell you, and I've said this example before, but I'll say it again. If you gave someone if you told someone, here's this $300,000 Lamborghini, I'm gonna give it to you for $5,000. They might have $150 in their bank account, no one to talk to. I guarantee you, they'll go find a way to get that 5K because they want it bad enough. You need to place your program in a way to where they feel like that. There's a JB is in here, absolute dog, lost a ton of fat, got in crazy shape, completely changed his life. This dude, he couldn't afford the program. His uncle wouldn't buy it. Parents wouldn't buy it. He got his sister's boyfriend to buy the farm because he wanted it. He wanted it, and he shows up every single day because he wanted it that bad, because he knew that there was no other option for him. and he's got some clients, and he's gaining success, and he's getting in crazy shape even better, and he's building his personal brand, but it's because there's no other option for him. There's no turning back. And he made that commitment in his head after talking to me because of the way the sales framework went. So, Simon, my bad for interrupting you, bro. I just kind of wanted to elaborate on that. And Jonah, dude, that was some heat.
Yeah, 100%. No, thanks, John. And what's up, guys? I know I met a lot of you guys. For those I haven't, good to meet you. I'm going to cover two main things in this segment that will immediately help you guys make more money on the sales calls. Okay, so the first is going to be setting the tone and the frame of your sales calls. Okay, winning the first 60 seconds of the call. In my opinion, it can be lost or won in those 60 seconds. Okay, that's number one. Number two is going to be leading your prospects to the solution. Okay, not pushing them, but allowing them to choose to walk on their own. Okay, so first, setting the tone. This is all about placing yourself as the authoritative figure in your prospect's eyes. Okay, if they don't see you as an authoritative figure that is above them, right, there's no way there's going to be a sale. No chance. Think about it. This person is coming to you for help solving their problem. Okay, if they see you as an equal, or even worse, below them, there's no way they're going to pay you a pretty penny at the end of the call. Okay, because they need something that they're able to entrust, right? They can guide them to the outcome that they need. The truth is that, like Jonah talked about earlier, everyone in life wants to be led, right? But only by someone that they actually believe knows the way. Okay, we all want someone to make the decisions for us. All right. Now, one easy tip you guys can implement starting tomorrow or even tonight is try your best to avoid using the word bro or dude on sales calls. John just said it, right? You don't want to come off too friendly. You don't need to be nice in sales, right? When you say bro or dude, it makes the prospect too comfortable with you. I know it's habitual, right? We all use it. We say it to our friends, right? But that's the point. We use it with our friends, not to people we're coaching, okay? It's like if you guys ever grew up and you heard kids call their parents by the parent's first name. It was weird. You instantly know that parent doesn't have a lot of respect. You know, they're trying to be boys with their kid. The kid has more power. Maybe they're throwing parties all the time, right? That's what you think of. If you're using bro and dude all the time, cut that out immediately. You want to make sure you're putting yourself as the authoritative figure, okay? So, like John said too, it goes into the content. You should be an authoritative figure in your content already. But if you get on the call and you're awkward, you're tripping over your words, you're calling them bro, not setting the frame, they're going to be like, who is this guy? It's not who I thought he was. It's not the guy I saw confidently in the videos, right? So it's super important that you accomplish this within the first 60 seconds by taking control of the call. So you can speak confidently with your chest, right? Make sure the prospect can hear you, as John talks about. I'm not going to go over every detail of the words to say because you guys already have John's superhero script in module 4. But the main thing I want to cover is setting the frame of the call. Okay, this means stating the purpose of the call and getting them to agree to your frame. All right. So in the script, John says, all right, John, so how these calls usually work is I'm going to ask you some questions to get an understanding of truly where your life is at right now and what goals you have around your niche or solution. So I can make sure that what I do here in my one-on-one coaching is actually aligned with what you're trying to achieve. Sound good? They have to say yes. Once they say yes to that, boom, they're in your frame, okay? It's super important to get them to agree because now they've agreed to your structure for the next 45 minutes, right? You've put yourself in the driver's seat. John had mentioned to me that some of you guys are struggling with this and the prospect is the one asking you the questions, putting you on your back foot, right? It's horrible. I've been there myself before when I started out. It sucks. They're peppering you. You don't know what they're going to ask next. You're praying they don't ask you that one question you don't know the answer to, right? You control the call. You don't want your prospects asking you the questions. Okay, so set the agenda and the frame. It's in the script. They'll agree. And then you can jump into the first question to asking about themselves, right? Why they just reached out and booked a call. Okay, so do not start your first questions about, hey, man, so tell me about your situation. What you got going on right now? Do not ask that question until you set the frame. Okay, if you don't do this, you're going to have 2-hour sales calls where the person gets off track on some random topic and there's no clarity, right? And when there's no clarity, there's not going to be a sale, right? So for example, they might start talking about their grandma died, so they started binge eating, right? And now they're out of shape, they gained a bunch of weight. And next thing you know,
you're 10 minutes in and they're talking about, the random things that they love about their grandma, where she used to go shopping and stuff that doesn't matter, right? You don't want that, okay? So that's setting the tone, is be the expert and the authoritative figure, set the agenda and the purpose of the call, and get them to agree to it, okay? You need to establish this right away so you set up the rest of the call for smooth sailing, okay? That's setting the tone. You say, here's the purpose of the call. Here's what you're going to get out of it the next 45 minutes. You agree? Sound good? Yes? Great. Now you're in the driver's seat. Right?
This can also, I just want to interject real quick. This can also seem, and I think Simon and Jonah, you guys will agree with this. As humans, we oftentimes tend to think like tiny little changes don't make a difference. But I think in sales, like the difference of a couple of words can be the difference in you getting off with no money and you getting off with a paid in full, just because of that. So it's like you might have on the back end of the call everything be the exact same, but in scenario A, you set the frame and you said, here's what we're going to do, here's what I want to establish, and here's how this call is going to go, and they say yes. And then in scenario B, you just are like, hey bro, what's up, tell me about you, and you have the exact same call. In one scenario B ends up not closing, scenario A ends up closing, even if they said the same words, because what was the very first frame of reference? Everything that they told you is now laced under the mold of, we're trying to figure out if my program is best for you, or we're just having this call and you're just talking to me. Even if it's the exact same conversation, one of them is under the mold of them buying. One of them is basically they're controlling you because they're just taking your valuable time, having a friendly conversation with you, even though it's your call, you're the content creator, and you're the person in charge.
100%. We're not here to small talk, right? We're here to change people's lives, help them take action and get to an outcome that they want, right? So that's number one, right? Setting the frame, being that authoritative figure. Number two is leading your prospects to a solution, not pushing them, not forcing them, right? Jonah talked about this a little bit earlier. Sales is not about pressuring. It's not about convincing, right? It's not Wolf of Wall Street forcing someone to do something they don't want to do, right? When a sales call is done right, you'll actually have a prospect, they'll close and they'll be thanking you for the experience, right? They're not going to feel like they got tricked into doing something they didn't want to do, okay? Now, the way this works is you can't tell them what their problems are or what action they need to take. They need to say it themselves. Like John says, the prospect, they'll believe everything that comes out of their mouths and nothing that comes out of yours.
Even if it's the same thing.
Exactly. Sounds stupid, but even when it seems obvious, you need to get them to say it. Even if they look 300 pounds out of shape, they have to say it themselves, okay? And we do this through curiosity with our questions, okay? So Jonah talked about, being empathetic, being that mindset. You need to get in the mindset of understanding their situation and asking about them. It's not about you. You can't tell them they need fitness coaching. They need to say why they need it, even if it seems obvious. Ask why. How come? In what way? How long has that been going on for, right? Why is the most important question in a sales call. I want you guys to be asking that question a lot, over and over and over and over again. And you'll know that you're being curious and being curious enough, and you're asking the right questions based on the answers you're getting, right? Jonah said it. We have people tell us all the time things they've never told their loved ones, their spouse, their best friend, right? They're going to open up to you. If you just ask questions, they're not going to share that. You have to go layers deeper. Ask why. That's the most important question, okay? You can't get them to lead themselves if you don't ask the right questions, and they are unable to open up about their pain and their situation, right? A good way to force yourself to be curious, right? Because sometimes people are naturally more curious than other people. A good way to force yourself and remind yourself of that mindset: do not assume anything. What do I mean by this, right? So you can't assume how someone feels about their current situation. Not everyone who's out of shape hates their lives, hates their job, and is severely depressed. It's not everyone's like that, right? Like John says, pain and pleasure are the two biggest motivators for people. Okay, sometimes people are excited about making a change. If you assume that there are problems and you're wrong, that's a big no. It's going to be awkward. They're not going to give you the answers that you need to actually lead them to a solution. Okay, so I see salespeople all the time, especially after they have a lot of calls. You guys are going to be on a lot of calls, right? You want to get to 30K, 40K months. You might be taking a lot of calls. People start to assume everyone has the same problems because they've talked to people before. This is completely wrong, and it's honestly lazy, right? Like, no matter how good you get at sales calls or how many people you close, Each call is a new call and a new human being you're helping. So you have to have that curiosity and don't assume anything so that you're able to get the questions out of them, right? Get the answers out of them that you need so that they can help themselves come to that conclusion at the end of the call. Okay. Like even Michael Jordan, there's people used to say, I think he told a story one time about why he goes so hard in every single game, right? Like Michael Jordan, you've played in almost most games out of anyone. Why do you go so hard every game? You don't ever take a game off. And he said to them, I never know when it might be the first time someone's ever seeing me in their life, or the only time, or the last time, right? He was going to give them a unique experience and give them his best every single time. Sales are the same way. If you go and recall, oh, I've already taken thousands of these, this person doesn't matter. I already know exactly what to say. I bet I know their problems. You're going to lose, right? Each sales call is a new human being, a new person, a new set of problems, a new solution, a new outcome that you need to give to people. Okay. So to recap what we talked about, that first part is setting the tone and the frame of your sales calls, winning that first 60 seconds, right? Speaking confidently, being that authoritative figure, getting rid of bro or dude, and setting the structure of the call and getting them to agree to it, right? So that you're in the driver's seat, you're asking the questions, and they're on their back foot and not vice versa, okay? And then that second part is leading the prospects to the solution. Don't push them. We do that through being curious, asking why a lot, and not assuming anything, okay? Those main two.
All right, I'm going to finish off with you guys and just do what I want. I'm thinking as Simon was talking, what I want to go over really, and it's like knowing the answers of the questions that you're asking, knowing what answers you want. I think it's one of the most important part of sales. So throw a 1 in the chat if this is helpful. I really don't like spitballing information if it's not genuinely helping you guys. Throw a 1 in the chat if this is actually helping you. And then we're going to dive into that last but not least. Okay, great. Last but not least. And then I'm going to teach you 3 laws of human nature that you can use to close more deals that have helped me tremendously. And then finally, I have a little gift for you guys. All right. So let's talk about the answers that you need on these sales calls. It's actually very, very simple. You need to know why you're asking the questions. I don't know why more people don't think of sales this way. A lot of people are saying, what do I ask? What do I ask? What do I ask? I need a script. I don't know what question to ask. I don't know what question to ask. I hear that every single day. Okay. And then I look at their sales call and all I have to do is break it down and I say, why'd you ask that question? And they're like, well, I don't know. Like it just felt like the right thing to do. Right. You have to know what you're trying to get if you ever want to stand a chance at sales, because there's no way that you could actually formulate a script that's going to perfectly answer every little path and road that your prospect could go down. You're not an AI robot, right? So what you need is really, it's going to come down to 6 things for you guys for fitness coaching. Number 1, the biggest thing, the first thing you need to get, why are you reaching out to me? Okay. So if you're a bad sales rep or you're bad at your job, you're not good at sales, you're going to say something like, so why'd you guys reach out to me? Or why'd you reach out to me? And the person's going to say, well, I want to get in shape. This new year, I want to get in shape. Okay, great. Awesome. Next question. That's not a good answer. Why did you reach out to me specifically? There's like 5,000 other coaches out there. What was it about me? Yeah, I just really I want to take my fitness to the next level. I think you're the guy to do it. Not a good answer. That's not a good answer. That doesn't tell me why he reached out to me. And some people will accept that and move on. So I know that the answer I want is, dude, I reached out to you because I saw what you did with this guy and I was a similar weight and he dropped down in like 2 months and I saw his testimony was crazy and I've been following you for 2 months and I just believe so much in what you do and I love your content. Great. Now I got the answer that I want. Now I can move on to the next thing. I know that this guy actually deserves to be spending my time. Because what happens when you don't know the answers you want is you get your time wasted. You say, hey, why'd you reach out to me? I want to get in shape. Okay, great. And what do you got going on right now? Yeah, I'm just not in shape. How can you help me? And all of a sudden I've lost control of the call because I've let them just give me a shitty answer and I've just accepted that. And now I'm getting taken advantage of. Okay. So that's number 1. 5 for you guys, or 6. I think it's 6 for you guys. So that's number 1. Okay. Number 2, and I'll just do the next 4 because they're the same for every sales call, is very simple. It's where are you now? That's number 2. What's your current situation? Some people call it discovery, but where are you now? Where do you want to go? Number 3. Why haven't you been able to get there? Number 4. What happens if you don't? Number 5. And lastly, why now? Okay. So I'm going to say it again just to drill it in. I mean, I look at every sales call like this as basically, okay, why did they reach out to me first? I just need to know, is this person qualified to talk to me? No? Okay, go watch my content. You just found me yesterday. You can fuck off. I don't want to sell you something anyway. All right. Okay, great. They're qualified to be on the call. All right. Where are you right now? Where do you want to go? Okay, now there's the gap. Why haven't you been able to get there? You challenge-based questions. Why haven't you been able to get there? It might just be one question. And then once you realize why they haven't been able to get to from point A to point B, what happens if you don't? And John said it perfectly earlier. The goal of the sales call is not primarily to get the person to buy your shit. Okay? You have to first get them to agree to making a change, sell them on the process of changing before you can sell them on your product. Every single person that I introduced to this program that's on this call today, I asked them, are you actually willing to get uncomfortable and do the things that you need to do and make that XYZ thing you told me earlier in the call a reality? And they all agreed to it. And they all said yes. And if they said no, then I wouldn't have moved on to the next question. And I certainly wouldn't have told them, yeah, I think we should sign up for the program. They have to agree to change. That's your job. If they don't agree to change, you have to be willing to walk away from the call. I see so many people where I watched the first 5 minutes of the call. I said, this call's fucking dead. He better not pitch this fucking guy. And they go and pitch him a price, and he says, I'll think about it, and he never hears from the guy again. You need these questions. In my opinion, that fourth question, that cost of inaction, what happens if you don't? Excuse me, the fifth question, what happens if you don't? That is the most important part of the framework. That is the most important. What happens if you don't? Because now they're thinking about, it's not, what happens if you don't buy my program? You'll never make 30K a month, all this shit. No. It's what happens if you don't get in shape? What happens if you don't make this change? Maybe my kids don't respect me. For someone else, maybe it's you're not able to provide for somebody because you're always in the hospital. Whatever it is, it's going to be different for every prospect. But that is the most important part, cost of inaction. And then finally, that number 6. And again, this is just off the dome, but this is every single sales call, is just why now? That's just my favorite question. It's just why now? You don't have to do this now. Why are you doing it now? You can just be the new year, new me guy. Why are you doing it now? It's funny that it's New Year's Day, but that is the question.
No, I was just like ad-libbing you. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt. But what I did want to say on top of that, bro, is it's like that goes the same with people making decisions. The same way people don't want to make decisions for themselves and pick the hard one, they don't want to think about the bad scenario. If you have someone who's smoking weed all the time, who's broke, who's reliant on their parents, this, and this, what they're not doing is looking at themselves every day and being like, man, my situation's so bad. They're coping. They're finding ways to be like, it's not that bad. It's fine. On the call, you're getting them to admit you're not creating a new pain and being there and be like, bro, what is wrong with you? You still live with your parents? You're just amplifying the pain that they're already in and getting them to accept where they are. This is just like what Jonah said, and like that's the whole part of the mechanism that makes them be like, okay, I actually need to buy. But what he's hitting at this whole entire time is like, what's the number one most fundamental rule of sales? Is that you have to establish a need. If there's no need, it doesn't matter. And that's what he's saying is it's like, you literally are making them say, I need this. And if you ask a question and you have an answer in your head that you know you want and you don't get it, this is the biggest thing that I see. I think this is what 90% of you struggle with. And I'm so glad, Jonah, that you explained this so perfectly, like almost better than I can even explain it, is because you'll just get an answer and then they answer you and you're like, okay, next question. Do not move forward. Ask the question 12 times, rephrasing it a bunch of different ways until you get them to give you the exact answer you want. Because subconsciously, they know what answer they should be giving you. And when they give you a half-ass answer and you accept it, who has the power in the sales call now? They do. When every single solitary question, you hold them to a standard, you have to tell me every single solitary thing that I want from you before we move forward, you keep the power the whole entire time. They can't ask you any questions.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, this is more than just your sales calls. I hope that a select few of you will actually take this and go improve your life in other areas than just sales. Because just to point out, like, if any of you come from a hometown where you went back for Thanksgiving, if you've ever done it before, and you know you have whatever the Friendsgiving, we have it in our town back here in Boston. We came back one time, and you know there's a lot of people that I haven't seen in 4 or 5 years, and I have the same bullshit conversation over and over and over again all night, where they say, "What do you do for work? What are you doing now? Oh, cool, you live here," and I do that like 50 times. I realize some people are just so bad at the mechanics of a conversation. Everybody asked me, you know, what are you doing for work right now? Okay, cool, and then it just stopped, right? I just go up to somebody. It's this easy. You ask somebody, so, you know, how do you spend most of your time now? What are you doing with yourself? Well, I do this, this, and this. Okay, what do you want to be doing? This. I want to move. You know, some said I want to move to South Boston. Why do you want to move there? Oh, this reason, this reason. Why haven't you been able to do that? Oh, because I don't have enough money. Okay, what happens if you don't move to South Boston this year? Well, I won't be able to see my friends, whatever. Oh, we want to settle for that? No, I'm not. What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm going to change this, this, and this, right? And then that's the point where they start making excuses, and you can tap into their limiting beliefs and you can shut them down. Because a natural human nature, a natural piece of human nature, I'm going to give you 3 laws of human nature in just a second. But one piece of human nature that I didn't include in them was people will say their situation, every human does it. They say how bad their situation is and they immediately justify it. Yeah, I haven't been able to like make the money in my business and it's just been really weighing on me, bro. But it's not all bad because I feel like I guess I'm like learning, or I feel like I have to go through it. Because it's just an ego thing. They always try to justify, right? So then you can see the inconsistencies in people's speech and you can just attack them and knock them down if you just understand the answers that you want. I never go into any call thinking I have to ask this question at this moment or whatever. All my calls are different. I just know what the information that I want. Why am I ever going to pitch somebody something if they haven't told me that they're ready to change and they need to do it now? Okay? So last thing I'm going to give you guys today, and I'm actually going to give you a little gift at the end that Simon and I made for you. But the last thing that we're going to talk about, really, really simple, stupid simple. 3 laws of human nature. You can write the 3 down. Some of you might know 1 or 2 of them. I use these on almost every call. So number 1, the human brain comprehends words better at a slower pace. So slow down. Slow down when you're talking, especially about stuff that is sensitive, especially when you get to the end of the call, when you're talking about money and every word matters. When you slow down, the human brain can comprehend things better. That's just a fact. You can go look at any research. It's just a fact. So use that to your advantage. If you suck at talking, just talk slower. Okay. Number 2, people are inherently selfish. They are. So say their name to keep them engaged. Don't be the guy on the sales call that's like, so John Mark, it sounds like you want to do this. Oh, really glad that you shared that, John Mark. So John Mark, what do you think about that? Don't sound like a fucking robot. Just use their name time to time. And a lot of people say, well, if I don't call them bro, what am I going to call them? Call them their fucking name.
Use their name. Their name is their most favorite word in the whole English human language, whatever you want to say. It's the word they like hearing the most. It's what they've been hearing since they were fucking born, right? Use their name. You do that instead of bro or dude.
Next time you look at somebody like anybody that's talking to, exactly, anybody that's if you're talking to somebody on a sales call or if you're talking to them at a bar in person, if you just look at them and say, so Sarah, like, how did that feel? Just saying it like that is just going to get such a better answer than being like, so yeah, like, how do you feel about that? It's such a bullshit fucking question. And that's really what tonality is, okay? So slow down and say their name. All right. And then finally, the last law that I'll share with you is humans naturally want what they can't have. It is a fact in all areas of life. They want what they can't have. So you have to push them away at the right times. I see so many sales calls where they don't push them away at any point. If I'm taking somebody through the decision-making process where they're trying to change their life, I always ask them, I'll say, so, are you actually willing to get uncomfortable and do the things that you need to do to change? Yeah, I am. But why though? I'm not going to take a fucking yes. Yeah, I'm ready to change. Okay, great. This is the price. I am. Why though? Hey, do you think that this program would work for you? Yeah, I do. Why? Explain it to me. Now I push them away. Even when I'm objection handling, I'm taking through an objection. They're telling me I can't do it. It's too expensive. And I take them through. So what do you need to do today so that when you put your head on the pillow at night, you know that you made the right decision for your business? Well, I think I need to do the program. Are you sure though? You don't have to. Oh, I need to do it because this. Okay, great. Amex or Discover. That's what it is. You have to push them away just at the right time. You can't be getting on the call and be like, bro, I don't think you're ready for this shit. You don't know. That's the totally wrong time. But right when they're saying they want to buy, that's when you say, Are you sure? You push them away, and then you reel them back in. The girl doesn't want to talk to the guy that's DMing her every single day. She's more interested in the guy that doesn't look at her when she comes into the bar. He might be on a sports team, and he doesn't give her the time of day. That's who she wants, right? You need to do the same thing with your sales prospects. And it's just as John said in the chat, it is a dance. So as soon as they're engaged with you, you push them away and then you reel them back in. And there's no more powerful tactic than that, okay? So that's it. I don't want to talk you guys' ear off. You're going to be able to hear from George, who's a tremendous person. I look up to George. He's brilliant at what he does, and you guys are going to get a ton of value from him. The last thing I want to leave you guys with, I know we didn't talk about objection handling today, okay? Objection handling is an important part of the sales process. If you do your content correctly and you master the first 60 seconds of the call as Simon taught you to, and you develop this stuff in your calls, you're going to get you're going to get way less objections, but you still will get them. And you want to be able to have the confidence knowing, I don't care what this person says, I'm going to help them make a decision on this call, whether to buy or not buy, okay? So what I have done is I've put together an objection handling framework for you guys. I use a very advanced objection handling, like reframe formulas that is far too advanced for somebody that's maybe at a 1 or a 2 when I asked you guys 1 through 5. But it's a very easy Miro board that's all laid out for you. Whatever the prospect says, all you have to do is follow the arrow, and then you can lead it down to your answer. So whether it's I've been burned in the past, I just need to think about it, whether it's a fear-based objection, money-based objection, I have done a complete Miro board for you guys. It's extremely detailed. Feel free to put in your own examples when I use stories. It will instantly make you more money. I used to use that Miro board, and I would just really read it word for word while I was on the call with somebody without looking at their face, and I would close deals, okay? I will give that to you guys. I will be putting it inside of all of your Notions. I'll have to coordinate with George on that, and we'll get it into your Notions ASAP. I'll do it tomorrow. But you will have access to that. It's very self-explanatory. It's an excellent tool for anybody that doesn't feel comfortable objection handling. You can literally just go put it on your screen as you're talking to your prospect. You don't have to look at their face. Whatever they fucking say, great, there's the answer. Bang, bang, bang. I've closed so many deals using that framework. It's a tremendous tool. So I'm going to give that away to you guys tomorrow. Too valuable to put onto this call right now, but I think it's being recorded. But hopefully that was some good sales training for you guys. Hopefully you can actually use some tangible stuff that we have given you. I really don't like to just spitball and do a bunch of bullshit. So hopefully you guys took some good notes. You can start to apply it tonight. Reps, get it in, and then you can close more deals and grow your businesses because we're very much rooting for you guys.
No, guys, that was fucking heat. That was fire. Thank you. And as far as the putting the objection handling in you guys' Notions, it'll just be in the playbooks. We'll just find a way to put it there by tomorrow. Jonah and Simon, you guys hit the fucking nail on the head. Obviously, this is why you guys are the best of the best, and that's why you're on the 100X Mindset team, because that's all that we want. And I appreciate you guys for talking. Real quick, I know it's late, but I'm glad all of you guys are on here and no one's left, because this is insanely valuable. And real quick, some of you guys know George. If you actually watched the course the way it was supposed to, then you've heard him read Reality Transurfing, and you have possibly and hopefully bought the book and read it for yourself, because it's amazing. I was watching George read that book on YouTube before I even knew who George was. And it's kind of crazy how we connected and we've built this together. But George helps with a lot of, my back-end systems that I do, and helping and guiding me. And you can almost say he's basically like my mentor in a sense. And I just asked him if he would just share with you guys just like a couple quick little things. Because again, the title of this call was Conquer the World in 2025. And I want to give you guys as many resources as I possibly can. And so I just asked George if he would talk a little about his story, and then just kind of give you guys like some frameworks that you can apply through this year to your business. And that way you can just kind of know a little bit more of who George is. And we're all inside of the school community if you want to reach out at all. And then I'll answer those last 5 questions on the Q&A. And then we can all go to bed and smash our wake up times in the morning. So George, the floor is yours.
What's going on, guys? I appreciate the introduction, John and Jonah. Appreciate you guys so much. My name is George Stweetsev. I'm a founder with John Mark and 100X Mindset. We kind of came up with it together about 6 months ago now, and we're really excited to have every single person here. I'm going to walk through a little bit about my background. I'm going to be only an hour. Just kidding. I'm going to be about 10 minutes, so it won't be that long. But I'm going to give you my background. John Mark really touched on what does it mean to take care of yourself, because everything starts with you first. You got to take care of yourself first before you can help anyone else.
Simon and Jonah are brought into the team because they help us bring on the next guy to come inside 100X Mindset, which is what they trained you guys to do, which is how do you guys bring in, once you've helped yourself, your clone? How do you bring your clone up to join your program? And then I'm going to talk about how do we as a unit put together an ecosystem to go to where we want to be in this next year. Because everything happens 6 months, is a 6 month lag effect. Any decision we make today, we're only going to see the fruits of the labor 6 months from now, 1 year from now. So my background is in e-commerce. I've done over $15 million in e-commerce sales. I stopped doing that. I did software from 2020 to 2022 before I sold that company. And whenever you're starting something new, when I was starting something new in 2023, what I said to myself was, every big thing starts small. So instead of starting 2023 saying, you know what, I'm going to do this huge thing right away, I have so much energy, I said, what is the smallest action I could take every single day that's going to compound me for this whole year and put me in a position so that I start 2024, which is this year, 2026, in a state of momentum. So I'm already thinking today, I'm already thinking, where do I want to be January 1st, 2026? Where do we want to be as a whole unit 2026? And that starts today. So for me, when I exited my company, the software company, and I started 2023, I said the two smallest things I could do are, one, walk 10,000 steps a day, because I wasn't really exercising at that point. Still not either that much. Number two, do 10 calls, do 1,000 calls in that year, 1,000 consultation calls to build up the density of my network, because I wanted to prepare for what I was going to do the next year. And so for you guys are in a position now where if I'm looking at all of you guys are in the same position, which is what we've created in the framework. How do we go to making $250K a year as an elite fitness coach? The number one thing is YouTube. If your goal this year is make 50 YouTube videos, quality YouTube videos, that's going to prepare you and set the foundation for the rest of your life. And sometimes the best scenario is when you have nothing. Ironically, when I look for a star talent like John Mark to be a partner, what I'm looking for is, have they documented when they had nothing? Because if they don't have that, then we don't have the foundation to grow an exceptionally high business. Because when you get a little bit further ahead, everyone's going to start asking, well, what's their origin story? Where do they come from? That foundation dictates how high they can really grow. And without that, it's very difficult to go to the next level and become a really big star player. So this whole ecosystem for me was, I've done e-commerce, I've done software, and I've helped so many people do info, but I've never really done info myself to the degree I wanted to because of one thing. Success rate is extremely low. And I always felt a little bit like, it's a scam, this guy is a course, this is a course, all this stuff. They have a point. I know and Sona and John can attest to this, I know so many people in the info space, and the success rate is very low. And the reality is, it's hard to make people successful who are not already going to be successful. So the only testimonials people have in info products are the people who are going to get success regardless. And so I said to myself, okay, I don't want to do info until I can figure out a way so we can maximize, I'm not saying we can do 100%, but maximize the chance of someone who's not going to be successful without us. That is really the benchmark of what I believe to be a good info product, a good program. And so I'm going to share a little bit about like what the heck does that take? And I think what that takes is like Alabama football. It means no matter if we have a star player, no matter if we have, some random dude who's, not in that great of a shape, who's not really that great of a communicator, who's not really that good, how can we make him a fucking success? All right, maybe not 50K a month. All right, maybe he's not Nathan Sage. Maybe he's not John Mark. But how can we make that guy 10, 15K a month? Because every single fucking person can do that. And so we said, this is what it would take. It would take creating a system that every single minutia parts, we can have a streamlined process to continually innovate at the joints. And the first thing is we need to know about them the same way they know about the person. So many times the people will know the identity figure, but the identity figure has no fucking idea who the other person is. They're like, oh yeah, some guy bought my stuff. I don't know, whatever. I made 30 grand today. I made 50 grand this month, whatever. They don't know anyone who's in their program, and they don't track every detail of their life. So what doesn't get tracked what doesn't get measured, we can't fix that. And so here we created an ecosystem, a system where we want to first understand each person that we sell into our program. We want to understand them so clearly so we can truly figure out how do we help them. And we want to continue optimizing this, not just in each individual, but as a whole ecosystem, so that every time one person comes up with a good idea, oh, you know what? That was a great way to show testimonials, or that was a great DM strategy. That was a great sales tactic. That was a great YouTube video concept. That was a great edit. That was whatever. We can then one click and boom, connect it to every single other person in the ecosystem. We can give that idea that we created that was really good, and we can give it to every single person here. And that's what I mean. That's what I think makes a really good community, where whenever someone discovers something, you know, whenever Ty Wynn, whenever John Mark, whenever Jonah, whenever Justin, whenever Farhan, whenever Jackson, whenever Casey, whenever someone comes up with an idea that works, we can then give it to everyone else, and everyone as a group rises up. The first thing is you have to take care of yourself. That's what John Mark's whole 1 hour speech was about. It's how the heck do you take care of yourself to build yourself into an authority figure, to document your life, and to put yourself in a position to have a cash flow producing personal brand asset for the rest of your life. Something that no one can ever take away from you. That YouTube video you made that no one can ever take away from you. That body, whatever, something that's, I think the key word for today is undeniable. To create something first with yourself that's truly undeniable. Second, for Simon and Jonah, is to then take John's identity, to take that system, and to sell a clone to come into the program who resonates with that vision. For you guys, it's the same thing. To find who you resonate with and to bring up that person into your ecosystem. And then for me, it's, okay, how do I architect Alabama football? How do I put everyone in the right position? How do I find the John Mark? How do I find the right sales tactics? How do I find the right Simon and Jonah? How do I put together the whole system? How do I maximize people's results so that we as a whole unit can start 2026 being like, holy crap, guys, look at where we're at today. Look at the thing we've created. So now we're getting into the point of, all right, we know exactly what every piece comes into play for making someone make over 10, 15K a month. But now that we have this, how do we start automating it for people? How do we make sure that even if they falter a little bit, we bring them back on track, right? And a lot of that's going to come down to all the next things we're going to be doing over this next year. The events, more updates to the system, more talent, Rolodex, editors, script writers, DM setters that we've already been doing for the elite. The reason why Nathan was able to cross his next threshold is put in a DM setter. We're going to be putting in closures. We're going to be doing all the things to uplift the whole ecosystem so that even if someone falls a little bit, if they're still in the community, 1 year from now, 6 months from now, we'll be able to say, you know what, let's get that guy, let's bring him back up, because we now have a better system to take him even further ahead without him having to do as much as he would have had before. Come up with new innovations to lift everyone up, and that's really what we've been doing here. And so, you know, I just wanted to say, guys, I'm so proud of everyone for joining here and staying on this call. Now it's about 2 hours, because it means you want to take care of yourself. You want to take care you want to take care of the community, and you see what this next year could be for yourself, for the people that you help, and then for the community that you're part of with 100X Mindset here, and how we can go to that next level and bring everyone else up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, George. That was fire. Yeah, guys, George has been a massive help to my success. Obviously, I didn't meet him until I moved down to Miami, But I think one of the biggest things that I learned from myself when I met George is that, like, wow, a lot of what I've done has just been like sheer brute force. And I like this saying a lot, and it's like, smooth is fast. And success loves speed. And I say this all the time, but I found out a lot of times when it's just sheer brute force, a lot of times you can use like that, you can lose that finesse, you can lose that ability to be smooth. And I think it's really, really cool to have someone, George is 10 years older than me, and he's been in the game since George was on Shopify back in like 2014. I'm like, dude, I was 10 years old, and George is on Shopify being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So being able to see someone who's played the game, who's made all the moves before me, who's made the mistakes, who can guide me the same way that I'm guiding you guys, it's super, super cool, especially in an industry where it's very, very hard to find someone who has your best interest in mind. And I'm really thankful to have been able to partner with somebody like George, because I will say, in this city full of a lot of people who will only tell you something if it benefits them, George has like undeniably, the theme of the call, undeniable, has undeniably always given me advice that I know is going to be the best for me or the best for you all's growth long term. So it's been super cool, and I hope this call has been extremely valuable. I know it's super, super late, and I'm going to have this recorded, or this is recorded, and I'm going to have it posted in the school. But I wanted to answer these quick 5 questions real quick. I grabbed 5 from the school chat that I saw that it really, really stood out to me. So I'm going to answer them quickly. I'm not going to go on a tangent. The first one is, how do you ensure the followers you get are potential clients other than making the content specific to their needs? Now, what I'll say is, you can't expect every single solitary person that follows you to be a client. It just doesn't matter. You can be the best person in the game. You can be Alex Hormozy when he's 80 years old and he's been doing business every single day for his whole entire life, and he's still not going to convert every person that lands on his landing page. He's still not going to convert every follower that follows. What you want to make sure you're focusing on is educating the people to the point to where they understand. Not every single person who's become a client of mine for the business followed me because they wanted to start an online coaching business, but because of the quality of information that I put out there is so good, and it's so, again, value focused. There's been people who have, through my content, been like, fitness coaching is the thing I need to do. They can become clients if you educate them enough about what it is. And I think a big mistake that I made, even when I was fitness coaching, is focusing so much on like, here's what you need to do, 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 and not focusing so much on like, here's why you need to do it. And I found that a lot of times you can just talk out your ass and people don't consume what you're talking about if they don't understand why. And the way I found out about this was thinking back to, myself in school. I love education. I love to learn. I was homeschooled when I was younger. I loved learning, but I found myself hating school the more and more and more that I went, up through government education and stuff like that. And I sat and I looked back and I reflected, and I'm like, it's because I didn't understand why I was learning any of these things or how I was going to apply it to my life, because half of what we learn in school, it's not actually applicable. So I changed my teaching method in a way of, I want you to not only know what to do, but why you should do it. Because in my own life, it's hard for me to give every piece of effort that I have towards something unless I fully understand why. Why am I doing this input? It's hard to wake up at 4 a.m. just for fuck's sake. But when I'm like, if I wake up at 4 a.m. every single solitary day, I'll have 400 days documented of me doing that. That's irrefutable. Now there's a soul base rooted reason, right? So if you're trying to convert clients of people that you have followers, there could be a person who never ever knew the value of getting in shape. And if all you're doing is talking about tracking your macros, going to the gym, and talking about your mindset, and you're not spending time educating them on why they should even apply your information to their life, they're not going to become clients. So the way I would answer that, how do you ensure the followers you get are potential clients other than making content specific to their needs? Don't just talk to their needs. Most people don't know what they need. Tell them why would they need this? Why should they get in shape? A majority of people know why they should. half of these people don't. So you have followers that don't even know what the benefit of getting in shape is going to be. And the more you make quality education of why, here's what getting in shape did for me, the more you're going to have people that are like, I never thought about getting a fitness coach, but now that I've just watched 4 of your videos about how having a coach completely changed the trajectory of your life, and Tywin does a great job doing this. He always talks about mentors. He's like, I look at mentors as a time machine. He was like, I was always so stubborn and I didn't want to learn from anyone else that was better than me. It's perfect because he's not just saying you need a mentor, you need a mentor, you need a mentor. He's like, here's why I needed a mentor and what I learned through my own life. He's not just giving them education on how to do the thing. He's educating on them on why they should do the thing also. That's how you're going to turn followers into actual clients. The second question is pissing people off to spark engagement too often bad, or is all press good press? Now, I'll say all attention is good attention. All of it. It literally doesn't matter. Now, in the long run, if it's like you did something really bad and there's evidence behind it, okay, attention's not going to be good. But even, say you have a person who has a coaching business and they commit a crime, they're probably going to make more money for a month or two because of the publicity about their thing before their brand image is ruined. But for you, if you're pissing people off, and I talk about this in the in module 3 when I'm going over reels, if you're going to be aggressive and agitate people, it has to have more density. You don't want to just seem like the babbling fool who's just spewing air. If you're gonna piss them off and talk about going out on New Year's is for losers, don't then just go keep and be like, all you guys go out on New Year's, you're a loser, you're out of shape. Give them extreme value. Back that hook up with extreme value. It's like going out on New Year's is for losers. Because I used to be a loser and do the same thing. And the reason I was going out was to cope with my inability of XYZ, XYZ. The more you piss people off to keep establishing that credibility, you have to have a lot of density to what you're about to say. So yes, it's very, very good if you're going to be aggressive and get under people's skin, but don't just get under their skin and not give them anything. Get under their skin, and then on the flip side of it, make them, damn, this guy pissed me off. Or he's low-key right, or I've never thought about that before. You don't want to seem like you're just trying to piss them off, and you're not giving them anything on the back end of that. Number 3, I have 25,000 followers on Instagram, but only get 150 to 400 views per story when I post 20 per day. But when I only post 3 to 4, I get 1.5 to 2,000 views. How can I fix that, or is there any way to fix this? Now, let's use this as this is I think this is I don't know where the question was. I just wrote it down earlier. But I have almost the exact same amount of followers, and my engagement is the exact same way. I've got, I'm almost at 30K. And at the end of the day, after I posted 20 stories, I have maybe 400 to 600, right? Now, if I post 1 or 3 or the one 24 hours ago, it has around 1.5 thousand to 2,000. But again, I covered this earlier. We're not trying to feed everyone. We're trying to feed people that are hungry. They're great, you got 2,000 views on your story posting 3, but you converted none. Wouldn't you rather have the 3 people who are going to buy your program this week consuming 20 stories and convert rather than 2,000 people watching your 3 stories and nothing happening? Story views aren't a metric that matters. Again, it's the same thing with followers. There's a bunch of people that had a ton of followers that were making no money. Like Ryan Johnson specifically, where he came down here. Ryan, I think you're in this call, right? He came down a couple weeks ago. He's about to move down to Miami, and we were talking, and I was like, "What was it like when you first blew up?" And he was like, "Bro, I had 120,000 followers on Instagram, and I was making $15 an hour flipping burgers." And I'm like, "I've been lied to. How is this working, right?" And it's because it's not about the people. It's not about attention. It's about how well you can convert attention. Right? It's the people that are specific. So you shouldn't worry about, oh, my story views went down. Your brain has been trained in influencer mode. Wow, you got more story views. But I'd rather have 2 story views and each of those are a client than have 1,000 story views and no one's buying anything. If you want to be famous, sure, optimize for story views. But 100% of us in here should be trying to make as much money as possible and build the biggest long-term business. So it really doesn't matter. And now there's a lot of people that are doing like the close friends method and stuff like that. And that's why I have to post it on my story all day long, is because I'm putting that in and I'm going to test with it, just because I don't want to be like, hey guys, you should do it if I've never done it before. So I'll give you guys feedback. But at the end of the day, the people who are in the conversion mechanism and they're getting pushed over the edge, they're watching your stories, they're watching your reels, they're going to watch 17, 18, 19, 20 stories regardless. The people that just watch the 3 or 4 stories, they're not ready to buy yet, so it really doesn't matter. The people that are ready to buy, they're going to consume the stories. And you don't want to post less just to, make the people that aren't ready yet feel better. And then the people that are ready to buy, it takes them a longer amount of time. That doesn't matter. Continue posting the 20 stories, because the people that are ready to buy and that are on edge are going to be looking for those and consuming those, and it's going to push them over the edge. Don't worry about how many story viewers you're getting, especially in the beginning. Now, when you're making $50K a month, we can discuss about how we can optimize that a little bit better. But right now, it really doesn't matter. What's the best method of leveraging testimonials in January? When should we post them? How frequently? I would say don't post them every single solitary day, just because, unless you're just getting millions of views a month, and because then you have so many more followers. But when you're posting them every single day, it just kind of leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. It's like, same thing, especially for you guys that have even me, I wouldn't do that with a small amount of followers. The best thing I would do, Nathan texted me today and he was like, yo, one of my clients, literally the past 3 months, he's gone from 400 nanograms a deciliter of testosterone to 1100. How should I go about posting it? And I was like, start this sequence. Anytime you're going to do it, you guys can kind of use like the 12 days of Christmas that we did type of flow. Don't just post here's my client's transformation. Speak specifically. What I told him to do is I was like, take a story and put a headline on it and be like, 400 test, LOL. And then be like, do you guys know what 400 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone feels like? You probably do, because that's how 90% of you live today. And I said, so aggregate the pain, speak about it like that, then talk about all the things that you can do, and then tie it in to your client transformation. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what we did with my client, Joe. He implemented XYZ. So do a 3 to 4 story sequence where you talk about the specific pain point, the specific thing that you're going to overcome. And then boom, you smack the testimonial in there. It gives a lot more density. And also, don't just focus on results. Don't sell yourself short by not asking for feedback from people before they've had a 90-day transformation. If they track their macros for 1 week straight, bro, send me a video real quick talking about how good you feel after you've tracked your macros for a week straight. All those different touch points, because social proof, most people buy from others' experience, not necessarily others' results. So if any time you have something that's really, 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 really good, like that happens to one of your clients, talk about it, have them send you a little video talking about it, and then post it on your story. That way people are like, wow, every single solitary person inside of Mike's program is just having an amazing experience. Okay, maybe you only have 3 clients who've lost 30 pounds, but that's fine. You got 15 clients in the pipeline who are on their way, who are having an amazing experience. That's what makes more people buy, is how did this person feel inside of your program? Not necessarily just like, oh, it's got an amazing result. And I'm speaking specifically when it comes to fitness. And then last one, Rocco said, do you consume content? If so, what types? And do you recommend we consume any content? My method, I truly don't consume any other coaches who help fitness coaches skills content. I don't at all. I like to, now, I'm not saying don't consume any content at all. I like to take ideas from like adjacent markets. Maybe somebody has, they're a real estate coach and they help people scale with real estate. I might watch them because I can apply the same things. It doesn't matter when you have someone else who's doing well, who does the exact same thing as you, it's very hard to not like almost copy them in a sense, right? And I'm not saying that you can't copy. Me and George have this term where we're like, don't copy, but steal the framework, right? So I might go watch, some girl who does sales and she does a reel and she's not in the same industry at all. She teaches girls how to become, do high ticket sales. And I'm like, oh, this reel is dope. obviously she's not talking about anything that applies to, yeah, I'm not talking about anything that applies to fitness coaching, but I'm taking that framework and I'm like, oh, boom, this is good. I'm going to make a video like this. So it's very, very difficult if you're just consuming every other fitness coach's content, not to make content just like them. I'm not saying like, hide your eyes from seeing it, but if you're constantly consuming theirs, all your content is going to be like that. So I would say take it from adjacent markets. Maybe, maybe there's someone who does, like holistic coaching and you're more of a bodybuilder. Steal their framework. Maybe someone, does like social media coaching and you're doing, personal development. Steal the frameworks and go watch a bunch of different types. And I'll still listen to the occasional Hermosa podcast here and there, but I'll also say you can get to a stage. I went through a stage where I went like 8 months where I didn't listen to any content at all. Right when you hit that spike where you start having the most momentum, you know all the information that you need, and you'll find yourself as a coping mechanism, just consuming more and more and more information without actually applying it. It's like reading a personal development book, but not doing anything about it. You'd be better off reading 2 pages and then implementing those pages each day and taking what you learn rather than reading 10 personal development books. All it does is make you feel like you're getting better, but you're not actually getting better. So if you're consuming content, only consume it with the I'm actually applying this. If it's just making you feel better because you just listened to 10 podcasts about a dude's $0 to $1 million a year story, it's not doing anything for you except making you more complacent because you're like, wow, I relate to him and he did it, so I'll do it as well. All is good. And then you don't actually apply anything. It doesn't really matter. So if you do consume content, make sure you're applying it. I don't consume that much. I'm not going to act like I'm just like angelic and I don't scroll occasionally. Like I do. I'll catch ideas and stuff like that here and there. But my main focus is on being a creator and not a consumer. And you'll realize the better you get at creating and the more you create, the less you even want to consume. Like, bro, I used to rip like Iman Gadji vlogs like I was a drug addict, bro. And now if I go back to watch one of them, I'm like I don't want to watch this. I want to make one, and you'll just kind of switch and you'll feel yourself go into that identity. I hope that answered all those questions. Boys, I appreciate you guys for all staying in here. This has been super sick. I'm ready to crush 2025. I'm fucking excited. I'm hungrier than ever. I hope you guys are all hungrier than ever. I'm ready. Let's take this to the next level. I want all of you guys engaging in the community. I'm going to post this up there. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow's the 2nd. This call is worth more than some dude's courses. I love it, bro. That's the goal. I love you guys. Have a good night. Anything you need, just obviously shoot me a message in the community. Shoot me a DM if you're in the one-on-one throughout the week. Let's get it. Let's be undeniable. Let's fucking go. Peace out.